3.
Well, greetings and salutations, y'all. Welcome to the best damn movie show on planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you live from John's YouTube channel. If you can't tell already, once again, John is still feeling sick, so he is not with us today. We're wishing him all the best, a speedy recovery. Man, Vegas can really knock you on your ass sometimes.
Do you really believe that, Chris?
I mean,
I think these Lightyear reviews really,
they really
being
got
the
to
Oscar
him?
Contender really has messed him up.
man, I gotta hide my face before I can come
John
back
took
on
a
this
big
show.
L on that one.
That's fair. That's very fair, right? Well, in the meantime, you've got all of us. You've got the Batman Beyond team here.
That's right.
Holding down the fort. I'm Chris Carr. I'm going to be here with you while we were talking about all kinds of good things, movies, movie news, TV streaming, all that great stuff. And we're going to be talking with you guys in the chat. And joining me today, of course, is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. How you doing, Rob?
You know, I'm doing quite good. I mean, we've got all kinds of goodness coming our way. Well, did come our way. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Miss Marvel. We've got Lightyear opening this weekend.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick made $400 million. I mean, if you're a fan of all this stuff, it's a pretty good time to be you.
It is.
You know?
It's a great time. And it's always a good time to be Ray Aura. Ray, how you doing?
Hey, I'm just trying to talk to the chat.
Oh, yeah?
So, hi, everyone.
And making sure that everything goes smoothly today, we've got producer Jonathan on the ones and twos. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Not going to let you guys see me sweat. You know, it's a good day. It's a good day. Listen, guys, this is a blues riff and B. Watch me for the changes. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
A blues
I
riff
love
and
it.
beat.
It's going to be very jazzy today because we are doing something a little different. With John out, we aren't going to do our typical male kind of response here, right? Where we take your questions and answer them here on the show because...
Oh, I was like, well, because you're hosting the show, you get a female.
Male with an I. Male with an I today. John, for some reason, won't give me his Gmail password. I don't know. What do you have to hide, Campea? So I can't get into our emails. So we are going to basically treat today as an off the tops. We're going to just go through a whole bunch of different news with you guys, hang out with you in the chat, and see what kind of cool stuff we can talk about. Yeah, right?
I'm getting a lot of messages right now about missed super chats yesterday. I don't know if we should address that. I don't know.
We absolutely should. Yeah, I know a lot of you reached out to me too, and you've been reaching out to Ray. Y'all, we're going to be completely transparent with you. Stream Elements is wildin'. I don't know what is going on because we have had a lot of things just not show up on our end. And so what we'd like to do for you guys today too, if we did miss your super chat, first of all, we definitely apologize for that. Sometimes the tech just gets a little hinky, but we want to make sure that your questions get answered. So if you did have a super chat that got missed, we're going to do the honor system. We trust you. We believe you. You message Mr. Rayora in the chat there. Make sure you at him with his full name so he can get that comment, okay? He's got eagle eyes, but we need to make sure he reads everything for you. Make it easier for him. Let him know what your super chat was, and we will answer that for you, okay, guys? Because we don't want you to miss anything. That's the whole point of the show. It's a conversation with you guys about our fandoms. And it's not fun when it's one-sided or when you get skipped. No.
Unless you're only listening to my opinion, in which case one-sided's fine.
And then it's fine. Then it's
okay.
good. Well, and speaking of ways to listen to this show, too, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you want to listen to the John Campea Show, maybe you can't get on YouTube because you're at work, you're jogging, you're cooking something, you're making some amazing Twix cookies in your kitchen like Ray.
Yeah, but caramel's a problem.
Caramel's tricky.
Do you know? Okay,
I looked at that picture. I thought you did a pretty good
I
job.
thought they were beautiful.
The problem with caramel is I didn't figure out how it would spread easier until like the last cookies, and I said by that point I was over it.
Yeah.
So I just try to spread it. It's so sticky. I had more of it on my hands than on the cookies.
No. Were you okay? Because
It's
that burns like a
crazy.
mother.
But you know what? Yesterday I tried them and I was like, But this morning I popped one in my mouth. Ooh. Night in the fridge, baby. Ooh. So good. I should have brought some in, but
I was going to
Chef
say, but
Pleasure's at the
But
peak of his
there's no
powers.
cookies for us.
I'll
which,
bring
you know,
some in tomorrow.
Okay, yay! Well, if you are making cookies and you're trying to listen to this show, hey, you can listen to us in podcast form. All right, you can go find the John Campea Show podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Find it there. Hey, maybe give us a rating if you like what you hear, especially on these shows where it's Rob and I holding down the fort. That might give us a nice little ego boost. Just throwing it out there.
Comments too.
Yeah. You can also listen to Mailbag on a podcast form as well. Really good stuff in there. Rob and I did our first Mailbag together yesterday, which was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I mean, if anybody thinks that our show Rob and Chris or Chris and Rob have issues shouldn't be the new smash hit of YouTube.
I think it'd be great.
You know.
It'd be delightful. Well, let's get into a few things, though, shall we? All right. So, first of all, you and I both came in today being like, have you seen this image?
Wow.
Deadline has released our first look at Ryan Gosling as Ken. Happy hump day, y'all. Look at this fella. Look at him. Look at this shiny Barbie doll.
Ken in the Barbie movie.
It is exactly what you think it should look like, and yet so uncanny. There's something a little I mean, it's supposed to be plasticky, but man, Ryan Gosling is just so perfect looking.
I thought this was a picture from Drive 2, but apparently I was like, oh, it's the Barbie
We're missing the
movie.
tattoo, right?
Yeah.
But-
although if they made a Drive 2 and it looked like this, I would watch it.
I would too. Gosh, I'm super excited about this. I'm excited to see all the other Kens as well because we have variations of the different Barbies and everything. But right now, I mean, this is a neon pink dream. This is fantastic. I'm very excited about the aesthetics. I love how all this looks. Ray, how are you feeling about this image?
Man,
Meh.
it's a little unfair, but like I bet you he's not eating Twix cookies for sure. He's not
He's
even in the
not?
kitchen probably. I mean, tell me some of that is a little makeup in the stomach.
Well, can we see the stomach? Because
Can that actually happen?
You got.
Jonathan, can we scan to the stomach?
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
See?
lower,
That's about all I got.
on the
That's all
thing.
you. Oh, that's all you got.
Well,
Just
'cause
show the
there's-
pic that you zoomed in earlier when you were lower. and
There's
you
a
were
lot of
showing
abs
me.
there.
A lot
A lot
of.
of abs happening. Well, and
Ray's
you know-
like, oh, those were airbrushed.
Exactly. Well, and we heard the line too from Crazy Stupid Love. Oh my gosh, you look like you're photoshopped.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the whole aesthetic here. But I'm interested to see though, chat. Everyone's like, Chris, stop being so thirsty. Never. All right.
Here you go, Ray. Well, then Chris is
I'm
blocking
in the
me
way.
out, so
Oh,
sorry.
I ruin
Oh, you
got arms.
everything. But that's pretty spot on.
That's in your search history, not mine.
Wow.
Chat though, let us know. Does this kind of move the needle for you on the Barbie movie? Is this something that you guys are looking forward to too? Are you
Moves
excited
my
about this?
needle.
Moves your needle.
You know what? Before you go on, I will say this: with the thought of these three, it's three guys, right? Ryan Gosling, Henry Golding. Oh no, the guy who played Shang-Chi,
Simu Liu.
Simu Liu, and then there's one more guy, right?
Yes, the
And I-
actor who is going to be the new Doctor Who from Sex Education.
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess they're all vying for Barbie's attention.
Well,
With
what
the-
it sounds like there's various Barbies and Kens in this as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a small world of Barbie.
there's gonna be a
Oh,
lot
there
of
you go.
pink,
A lot of pink.
a lot of pink. You know
A lot
what?
of pink, a lot of abs.
I'm not sure if it's a in theater watch, but I'll secretly watch it and secretly like it.
Aw, you won't go see this with me, Ray? We were
All
gonna
right.
go see the Barbie exhibit when we were in Vegas, but we didn't have time.
This isn't a 40X thing.
Hey, I think we all need to go see Barbie together and do a right out of the theater
Right out of the
reaction
theater.
video.
I would love that. Well, guys, the thing is, let us know how you're feeling about the Barbie movie. Is this something you're even interested in? Does this picture make you more excited? Did you not even know this was happening? Are you just going to appreciate Ryan Gosling? Let us know what you think. All right, let's get into a few other things here. Yesterday, Rob, we touched on how people were giving Lightyear an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, which
Yeah.
is nothing to sneeze at, right? That's a great rating. However, as more and more of the reviews are rolling in, it looks like critics are really divided on this. We've got a lot of mixed reviews on this. How are you feeling about that?
I kind of feel strange about it, to be honest, because I've been reading these reviews about this disconnect between, like, is this part of the Toy Story franchise? And I was talking with Jonathan this morning when we came in. I'm like, we were both discussing, for instance, if Andy and his relationship with his toys and growing up and having to leave toys behind as you become older, that's the Toy Story movies, and then the relationship that the toys themselves have with one another.
Yeah.
This movie Lightyear has nothing to do with that. This is the movie that one of the toys that Andy has, Buzz Lightyear, is actually from. So if you were to walk into, say, my Robservatory and look around at my relationship that I have with all my toys, like I have a lot of Hot Toys Star Wars figures. And if you watch me interacting with my Hot Toys Star Wars figures, and you're like, I find that movie of Rob Burnett in his garage playing with his Star Wars figures very heartwarming. But
It
then if
would
someone
be.
said, you should watch Star Wars, the original Star Wars, that would be a different kind of a movie, a different
Absolutely.
kind of experience. And that's kind of what Lightyear is. Lightyear is kind of that. Like, you're not watching a movie about Andy or his toys, or what it means to grow up, or what these toys mean to one another. It has nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, Tim Allen, his voice, is a toy. It's a recreation because they probably couldn't afford the actor from the actual Lightyear movie to voice the toy.
Which is a big thing in our industry, right? Is
Big
a lot
deal.
of times you have a sound-alike who does either spin-off shows where they couldn't get the big name actor because of a price tag or prior commitments, and a lot of the toys and everything too do have different people coming in and sounding like that character. And I think that's a really smart thing they did with this of making Chris Evans have Tim Allen-esque moments.
And I love the fact that they've made a movie that exists in the Toy Story universe that Andy actually went and saw and influenced him so much that he went out and bought a Buzz Lightyear. Like, I relate to that, and there's this meta thing going on there. There's so much I loved about that. Well, the movie itself, I thought, admittedly,
From
we've
what
only
we've seen.
seen 30 minutes of it. I thought it was great. I love the design work. It's beautifully animated, and people are even complaining about that. And I don't understand why, because that was one of the things that first struck me was how beautiful the retro sci-fi designs are in this film. I mean, it looks like it has a very 50s yet modern look to it. The design aesthetic is amazing, and there's a lot of touches on it touches on a lot of other previous science fiction classics. And so I thought the movie was the sci-fi premise was great, and I don't see this disconnect where people are like, well, this is more like a direct video sequel to the toys. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. From what we've seen of this movie, because again, to be fair, we have not seen the rest of this film.
Right.
Everything has to go really, really poorly in Acts 2 and 3, though, for our opinions, I think, to change here. But let's read a couple of these quick little reviews. This is all kind of compiled over on BBC. So The Telegraph said that this film was woefully half-baked and gave it just 1 star, whereas The Guardian says it's a crackin' origin story with a 4-star review.
Kraken like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Cracking.
Good. The Guardian goes on to say that Lightyear is a treat, a time-traveling, space-raging, animated adventure in the spirit of classic sci-fi. It might not precisely be up there with the very creamiest of the Pixar crop, but it reminds you of why we loved Pixar in the first place. Wit, fun, storytelling, and heart. I mean, that is Pixar to a T for me. People do go on to say here, the problem with Pixar's latest feature isn't just that it's the animation house's dullest, dreariest, most spiritually empty to date, it's that it fails even on its own painstakingly contrived open goal terms. Now that's from a different review, obviously, but how, it's so wild, and this goes to film subjectivity, right? Of how different people can feel about a movie, but this is kind of across the board here on very different ends of the spectrum.
I mean, when hearing that last comment, I'm like, what movie did you watch?
Yeah.
But I think this is a very interesting sort of a litmus test in terms of where we're at culturally. Like do people understand the meta nature of kind of what they're doing? And the thing about this movie is, even in the first 30 minutes, it's beautifully executed. Like, and to be fair, it started at first. I'm like, this kind of started slow, and it just creeped up. That first 30 minutes, they set up the premise, and then it's like, it has. I don't want to give anything away, but they do something really interesting with the premise. What Buzz's mission is, what he has to do in those first 30 minutes, and what the ramifications of those things are. And, you know, it harks back to things like Interstellar, like somebody brought up yesterday. And there's all kinds of stuff going on in this film. And I'm like, what movie did these people watch? I mean, this is peak Pixar, in my mind.
I think so. I feel like this is them just really swinging for the fences on this one, giving great sci-fi. Ray, how did you feel about this kind of divination in here?
I'm not gonna listen to all this noise. I'm gonna watch it later on today. So I'm really going for the sci-fi aspect, the space. I thought those parts really look cool from what we saw. Maybe cry a little bit. I don't know. Who knows how this movie's gonna play out? But that's my winnings, the things that are getting me into the seats. I mean, I'm gonna go see it with Anne later, so we'll see what I think of it. But these reviews, mixed, whatever, high, low. I think everyone just needs to see something if they're really curious about it, and just make their own decision. I mean, unless something is 0%, I mean, I even get 30% a chance. So if you have the resources to see something, it's best we see it with our own eyes, right?
Yeah. That's
You know
a
what
great
came out
point,
on
right?
Blu-ray yesterday?
What came out on Blu-ray?
Morbius.
yesterday? Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm not going to buy?
Me Morbius?
Or me. Or me, Morbius.
Or you?
I don't think everybody needed to see that movie
No.
to make up their own mind.
I mean, I'm glad other people did and then went, okay, Chris. Okay. But I think Ray brings up a great point here, though. Critics oftentimes do have very different opinions from the masses. You know, you look at how people felt about Uncharted, and then the reviews for that weren't so great. It was a runaway hit for folks. Jurassic World Dominion, even though, you know, a lot of critics have said that's not great. We had a great opening weekend for them, and people have said that it's stupid, dumb fun. For some people, it's a little too stupid, but a lot of people are enjoying that film. So
But this movie's getting like unnecessarily slammed.
that's how it feels.
And which it's strange to me that why would you say this movie of all movies?
Yeah. Well, and what's very interesting to me too is Pixar has always done a really amazing job, right, of making us connect to their characters so beautifully. And typically, it's to an inanimate object, a animal of some kind, something that, you know, on the most surface level, we shouldn't connect to. So it's really, really interesting to me that there is this big disconnect here with certain critics and these characters, because I find them to be very relatable. I find them to be very grounded. I find their mission to make a lot of sense. So I'm interested to see how the rest of this pans out.
Me too.
The question is up for you guys. How are you feeling about how divided people are on Lightyear? Who thought this would be the polarizing film of 2022? Oh my goodness. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Let us know how you are feeling about this down in the comment section below. All right, guys. Well, before we continue on here, we want to take a quick break. We are going to thank the wonderful people over at HelloFresh.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. Let me take a second to tell you why my wife Ann and I love HelloFresh. As two working professionals, at the end of the day, it can be tough to get dinner together, and HelloFresh saves us loads of time, money, and most importantly, gives us great tasting and nutritious meals. And no joke, with the easy to follow along instructions, Ann and I actually have a blast cooking dinner together. And they're so foolproof, even I can do it alone when Ann's not there. And HelloFresh now has over 30 dinner recipes to choose from every single week. That is the most choices of any meal kit out there. Customize your favorite dishes with new Hello Custom offerings by swapping out one protein or side for another, upgrading for a more luxe experience, or even adding protein to a veggie meal. So guys, right now, go to hellofresh.com/Campea16 and use the code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Once again, that's hellofresh.com/Campea16. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
And once again, thank you to all the folks over at HelloFresh. Remember, guys, every time you use our coupon codes, not only are you getting tasty, easy to make meals, you're helping support this channel directly. So we really appreciate that. Now, before we get into our next topic, Ray, you do have those missing super chats for us, right?
I got one from. Hold on. I want to point out that usually Erin's here on Wednesdays.
Yes.
She'll be back next Wednesday for everyone that's wondering.
Yeah,
I mean, she's on a little trip. So.
She's on a family trip.
Right. So hi, Erin.
Yeah, Erin.
We got one from Michael Croson. Sorry. We finally decided our wedding first dance song, the beautiful duet cover version of "You're All I Need to Get By" from Coda. That was a super chat. So congratulations on the wedding.
Yeah,
first of all.
congrats on your wedding. Oh my god.
Good choice on
That's a
music,
great
though.
choice. That's a
really like
beautiful
that.
song.
Exciting, man.
Oh, man.
I know about getting married. No, I don't.
We didn't do a first dance for mine because I got embarrassed. I didn't want people to see me dancing. So Logan and I just boogied later on with everyone around us.
And we got one from our friend Seconds from Disaster.
Yay!
He says, I hate musicals, but I think Joker 2 can work if all the musical aspects are in their delusions and then snaps back to reality. Sorry. Okay.
Ooh,
Anything to add to that? I mean, you guys pointed that out. The delusion thing would make sense if they went into song.
We talked about that a lot yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
And Rob had some really great ideas about it.
Yeah, and I think when people always say that they hate musicals, I went through a period where I hated musicals because I hadn't seen any.
Yeah.
I just hated them. Kind of like Westerns. I should have, I realized I was saying, I don't want to watch Westerns until I actually sat down and I realized, you know what? I've never really seen any real Westerns. And then I started watching them and found out this is a great genre film. And then when I saw Singing in the Rain for the first time, and it was on the big screen when I was in film school here at USC, I was blown away by it. And then I started watching things, and West Side Story became the original West Side Story became one of my favorite films, and operettas like Umbrellas of Cherbourg, love that. And I think that there's a lot of modern, like I would tell people, there's obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show, but Brian De Palma, who directed Carrie and who directed Blowout, which, by the way, Criterion just announced is coming out in 4K. He also directed Untouchables and the first Mission Impossible. He made a movie called Phantom of the Paradise, which is kind of a horror musical in a way. Watch that, or watch something like Repo, the Genetic Opera, or
So
watch
good.
them as a double feature.
I'm
So
gonna
good and so weird.
I want to say one thing about musicals. I don't know if this makes sense. I don't say I hate musicals. They're just not for me. But for every musical I did watch, I didn't hate them. They're just not for me. That's just the thing where if it's someone says this is a musical, most likely someone's going to have to put it on while we're all hanging out. And that's when I end up watching things that I don't seek to watch, you know? But I'm not going to go as far as saying I hate musicals. They're just, because all the ones I've seen are good. But
Hedwig and the Angry Inch. You got to see Hedwig.
That was a good
I just
one.
think that if someone says like, I hate musicals, and on the surface, I'm like, I get that. But then I have to think, so you hate The Sound of Music?
Yeah.
So you hate Fiddler on the Roof? Maybe we
Okay.
need to revisit that.
I got one more, which was sent today. It wasn't a missed one, but Rosie 1993 says, love you all. Great job.
Oh, thank you so much, Rosie. That's so sweet of you. We really appreciate that. We're doing our darndest over here. I think we're doing
trying.
good.
Hey, look,
doing
man,
well.
I am so impressed. I will follow you anywhere.
Stop, Rob. You
I mean that.
sweetie. Oh, I appreciate
Come on
that.
now.
Well, follow me then on this journey to this next topic. Boom, segues. Campea can't just do them. I got them too. Haha.
Chris,
So,
what is our next topic?
our next topic comes from Deadline, actually. This is great. It is a fantastic time, not only to be a movie and TV fan, specifically an animation fan. We've got some cool things in the works. Genndy Tartakovsky, who, of course, is the brain behind Samurai Jack, one of my favorites of all time, creator of Primal, has a new deal with Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Brothers
He also did
Animation.
the original Clone
He
Wars.
did, and there's some controversy there, right? That amazing animation style that still bled in over to the CGI version of
A little bit, but
everything.
apparently his isn't canonical,
No,
but the other
it's
one
not,
is.
which I loved his.
I loved
actually
his
prefer
too.
his,
Right?
I prefer his Clone War series.
I think it was so great. And the thing about Genndy's work that I think is so profound is that it's one of my favorite things about Pixar work too, is the storytelling that happens that's nonverbal. When you can convey an entire story without having to have dialogue, without having to give me all the exposition thrown in there verbally. Episodes like BoJack Horseman's underwater episode where there's not a word said. That's the kind of animation that I get very, very excited about. And it's the best use of the medium, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm very pumped about this. Let's see what Deadline has to say about this deal. So our Emmy-winning creator, producer, and director Genndy Tartakovsky, Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, has signed an exclusive multi-year cross-studio over deal with Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Brothers Animation. Now, under this pack, Genndy will develop, create, and produce original animated programming at both Cartoon Network and WB Animation, intended for a variety of audiences and for all television platforms, including HBO Max, external streaming services, cable, and broadcast networks. So this is a big deal that's going to span a lot. Now, the president of Cartoon Network goes on to say, Genndy is a true visionary who embodies the creative spirit of Cartoon Network Studios. As he continues to push the boundaries of storytelling and animation, we are excited to have a front row seat both here and now also at Warner Brothers Animation. So, I mean, that is just, we've listed a whole bunch of his work and everything. He's won, I think, 13 Primetime Emmys.
Wow.
He's an incredible mind. I'm very excited about this, especially because it's all types of animation, right? I'm hoping we do get some classic Cartoon Network, more kids genre stuff, and then we get some of that darker, more HBO Max kind of thing. Rob, when you hear about this, what stands out to you?
That the axe of Zaslav cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes he taketh away,
And
but in this
sometimes-
case, he giveth. And no, I think that this is a great move. I mean, I love seeing when studios partner up with creators for the long term. You know, and I started my first regular job in the industry was working at Warner Brothers for the senior vice president of feature production. And when I was there, Warner Brothers had ongoing deals with Richard Donner and Joel Silver and Clint Eastwood, Malpaso Productions. So there were people that were on the lot for a long time, and they had cultivated these relationships for many, many years. And with the way Hollywood economics works these days, those kinds of deals have gone away, those kinds of larger housekeeping deals. So when a studio makes a deal with a creator like this, it means something. It means that there's going to be a lot made, you know, unless you're, say, J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, where it doesn't mean as much as you might have thought it would have. But this is, I think we're going to get a lot of great stuff. I mean, Warner Animation, a lot of, like, John is not a big fan of what they've done with, like, the DC universe, but I actually have liked quite a bit of a lot of the output of it. Some of it, like The Killing Joke, I have not liked.
That was a big miss.
That was a big miss. But, you know, like the Dark Knight Returns two-parter I thought was pretty good. That the first Wonder Woman film they did was pretty good. But his sensibilities, and if they unleash him on Warner Brothers properties, or he will ask to be unleashed on them, it could be very, very cool.
Well, I think you bring up something really great here by comparing the J.J. Abrams situation to with Genndy's. Do you think, because animation, let's face it, is relatively cheaper to produce and everything, do you think that right now, particularly with Warner Brothers, it's an animator's kind of game where you can really do some fun creative work?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look when you see what they're doing with, like, Harley Quinn. You know, they're willing to push envelopes in different directions. And I think that if you think about the last 30 years, some of the most culturally relevant programming that we've had, whether it was Simpsons, whether it was South Park, and even things like Archer, there's been so much animation that has entered the popular culture, the lexicon, and even our political discourse, that animation has been a vibrant force in entertainment, and it's creator driven. You know, like Batman the Animated Series with Paul Dini and what Bruce Timm and Alan Burnett or whatever, those guys, I mean, they really make their mark. And I hope I see great things happening because of this.
Nice. Jonathan, since you are a fan of that original Clone Wars, does this get you really excited to see more of Genndy's work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan. Listen, right now, I'm just glad we're getting some new content because I feel like the last few news cycles have been, this is getting slashed, this is getting cut, this deal fell through. I know this is a deal. It's not, you know, the art it's not inked yet, right? But I'm excited about some new content. I like this creator. I personally did love his stylized, like, kind of vision for the Clone Wars. You know,
and his Jedi kicked ass.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I loved why am I blanking on Samuel L. Jackson's character?
Mace Windu.
Yeah, Mace. Yeah. I loved Mace in that series.
Yep.
So I am excited for what is to come, and I've also been saying, like, so we have been talking about the Axis Zaslav. He's really good at cutting the fat. Can he bring in good quality though to replace it? So that's what I'm curious to see now, and I think this is a good move.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I think this is probably the quality that we needed in this. But only time will tell, right? We got to have those T's crossed, those I's dotted, and we got to actually see the finished products here. So guys, let us know what you think. Are you excited about this deal? Are you excited to see different types of animation coming through here, different storylines and everything? Or are you going to just kind of wait and see till you can make your own judgments here? Let us know down in the comments below. All righty. So with that down and out of the way, Rob, we're going to move on to our next topic.
Chris, what is our next topic?
We're going to get into some non-spoiler territory for everyone. I want to be very, very clear about that. We are not spoiling the episode of Ms. Marvel that dropped last night at midnight, all right? This is our non-spoiler review, and we're going to just kind of touch on a few things with you guys on it, okay? Now, Ray and I got to watch this last night, so I think we're the only ones who watched it from the show.
I think I watched it.
You think you watched it? Ray had a lot to do, you guys.
Before the show, I was telling Chris about what I guess I thought happened, and she's like, no, that's not. Because I was trying to watch it while doing the work this morning, and that doesn't work sometimes when you're stressed out. So
for sure,
I'm not going to speak on things I'm not 100% about, but I will say that from what I think I saw, it remains on the same pace as the first episode. Cute. I mean, about her, the main character, and and we're getting to know a lot of the people around her now.
Yeah, we're
know?
really fleshing out this world. And what I like about this episode as well is it's a very good setup episode, right? We learn a little bit more about her powers and how she's learning how to control them. We learn a little bit more about the people around her and everything. And we're getting set up for the events that are to come here, right? We're getting those juicy, juicy plot points building and building so we can see where this story is going.
And yeah, so it makes this episode very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is one you might, it's very important.
It's a little less stylized than the first episode.
Oh,
we
yeah,
saw.
definitely.
They
I
do,
didn't see a lot of that this
Yeah.
episode.
When you do see it, though, it's adorable. You still have great text messaging. You still have really lovely lighting and imagery and everything. But this one, you got to have, some focus on that superhero's journey. And that's what they deliver here.
I read an article that there might it was speculating that there's a deep cut Marvel character who might be a big bad in this.
Ooh.
Was there any indication of that in this
I'm
episode?
going to have to rewatch it so I can
don't-
double check that.
a
'Cause,
magical big bad.
It's a possibility.
Oh,
Okay, I don't know.
We
I've only watched the
discuss
first
it on the
episode.
I was
after
going to
show.
say, when John does his after
Yeah.
show, if he's up for it, if he's willing and, able, because I know he's really sick, or,
good Prince
recovering
song,
from
by
Buzz
the way.
Lightyear.
Willing and able.
Great Prince song.
This is not a spoiler. What did you think of how they did? Because from the first episode, she discovers her powers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about what we're seeing with her powers? I mean, does it look good to you? Does the effects look bad? I thought they looked great.
I think they look
good.
really great, especially because it is such a stylized power, right? It's that kind of light chrysalis that forms around her, which I think looks really, really cool. I also love, and again, this isn't super spoilery, I love that she's not particularly good at this. I mean, you've got to learn how to use a power. And that's always been a problem for me in superhero montages and things, when people get their powers just real quickly and they're like, oh, yes, of course, I know how to do this. I'm a high school student, and yet look at me. I'm thriving. Because let's be real, guys, we've all been to high school. None of us were thriving at anything. We're all just walking hormones, trying out our best to figure it out. So when you're juggling also, which they do in this show so well, all of the minutia that comes with being a high schooler with all of this, right? Figuring out these powers, learning how to control them, trying to figure out how the heck you even have them. You're not going to be stellar at the beginning. And I think they handle that very well here too. And the effects, Ray, like you were saying, are just, I love them. I think they look great.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see what's to come. I'm very excited for you to watch this, Rob.
All right, well, I can't
So
wait. I
you
really
can give us
enjoyed
the
the first
feedback.
episode.
It's so cute,
You know,
right?
I quite enjoyed it. So
And going back to the kind of John Hughes-ness of this show too, we're even seeing a little bit more of that come in as well, with a few new characters being introduced.
All right, then.
There might be some more high school kind of shenanigans happening.
love the shenanigans.
Me too. I love this show. But guys, are you loving the show? Was episode 2 up to your expectations? Did it drop a little bit? How are you feeling about everything that went down? Remember too, y'all, if we could keep this pretty spoiler free in the comments section, just to be courteous to your fellow fans, we would really, really appreciate that. So let us know what you thought without spoiling anything downstairs. All right. So moving on, let's go to another Disney show that dropped last night. You saw this. We all saw this. This is also why we were having very, very late Tuesdays, or early, depending on your, perspective. Obi-Wan dropped last night. We got a new episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, where we're picking up where we left off. We're hanging out with these rebels. Things are going amok. Rob, how did you feel about this episode?
Well, look, here's the thing. I thought this episode was much better than the previous episode, than episode 4. There was a lot in this episode that I did like and a lot that I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very perplexed by this show in general. And what perplexes me is I feel like, okay, I don't want to spoil anything, but no, because I won't. I don't want.
I know.
We won't until we
It's
do our
hard,
spoiler
it's
show.
hard.
It's hard, but
Yeah.
there was, we talked about, I'll say this, we talked about getting a flashback. And I felt that there is a flashback in this episode.
Yes.
And it is an ongoing flashback that is woven through the duration of this episode. But I felt that flashback was something that we already knew.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lesson that was imparted to Luke in the original Star Wars by Ben Kenobi when he's working with the remotes. good against the remotes is one thing, good against the living, that's something else.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Han Solo said. And then putting down and by the when I got to the end of that flashback, I'm like, come on. Really? Like that's what we get? I mean, that's your great insight. And it was maddening because we as fans were way ahead of that lesson when it began.
Yes.
And I felt like it was a scene that they decided almost in editorial to weave throughout the whole episode. But when you're going to do that, you damn well better stick that lesson landing, you know, whatever. I mean, if you want to, and I feel like that show, when it could, the idea was correct. The idea was sound, but the message and where that took us was something we already knew. This was
Exactly.
no insight at all. And it was, I thought that there was going to be some kind of a, you know, like a gut punch at the end. There was not.
I agree with that. It does feel like the execution, as most of the show has felt, in my opinion, has been a little off. And I like the stick the landing thing. This does feel like it's a wobbly balance beam routine where there's moments of greatness, because there's some great
There's
lines
great moments
here.
in this. And I just, it's maddening to watch because these are things that I don't understand how intelligent people look. I've edited films. I've sat in edit bays when other people are editing. You sit down and you watch these things and you discuss and debate. And I can't understand why somebody comes to the end of this episode and goes, yep, that's the message we want to give to. And I'm like, when I was, well, actually, Star Wars didn't exist till I was 10. But if I was 6 and I had seen a few Star Wars movies and watched this, I would have been way ahead of the lesson that was being imparted. I'm like, that's kind of what a master and Padawan's relationship is all about, right?
Well, I've only lived in a world where Star Wars has always existed, which is, I mean, what a gift.
Yes.
To be alive with there was always and forever Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. I mean, that's what people forget is I lived in a world where there wasn't. And then Star Wars was so transformative and so I mean, what it did to pop culture, what it did to my imagination and the imaginations of the world cannot be undersold because now it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Every kid goes through let's go get a lightsaber, you know, and I mean, everybody.
I'm still at that stage.
Yes, me too. Too many. But that's why I feel that what we're seeing is so, in a way, to me, a little disappointing because I've had Star Wars for most of my life, but I remember what the world was like pre-Star Wars. So I expect more from it because when Star Wars first came out, all of it was transcended. All of it was new. And it was something no one had ever seen before. Now we don't have that. Now we've seen this before. So give me new messages. Don't give me a message that I understood in the late 70s again.
Well, and with that in mind, too, do you think that Star Wars now just has a really high expectation level that just can't be met because of how, you know, this fandom has become so much more than those original 3 films, right? It's transcended what it initially was. It's sparked so many different filmmakers, comic book authors, fans in general. There's a whole mythology that goes with these now. Is it possible to meet a fan's expectation when you've reached that legendary level?
That's a really great question.
Thank you.
I think the problem with modern Star Wars is that because we love it so much, we all make excuses.
Oh.
And we're making excuses for everything because here's the thing. We're getting a Book of Boba Fett show. We've had since 1980, actually, if you go back to the holiday special, since it was first introduced, the animated version of Boba Fett, here's a character that's been around literally since 1978. And when we finally get something from him, let's just say what we want is a Michael Mann level crime thriller, whether it's Heat or something like that. When I see Boba Fett, his backstory has got to be the man with no name, Clint Eastwood, you know, good, the bad, and the ugly. And what we get isn't that.
Well, that's what we got with The Mandalorian, basically.
Well, yeah. And that, I mean, The Mandalorian was the Boba Fett TV show. That was, and yet we always are making these excuses, like, because we love Star Wars so much. I mean, I love Star Wars so much, but and again, Star Wars was amazing. Empire Strikes Back was even more amazing. So when Star Wars began, it was always incredible. My first big letdown, and people don't understand this, was Return of the Jedi. Remains the most disappointing movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
I know people are going, what? Because Star Wars and Empire was all new. Everything was new. It was plussing the mythology. Now, aside from the great opening, I love the swashbuckling rescue of Han Solo, and I love the confrontation with the Emperor at the end.
Yes.
The rest of that movie is completely inconsequential. Whereas if you look at the middle of Empire Strikes Back, you have Luke learning from Yoda. He's learning from a Jedi Master. So we basically, you could have had a confrontation we do at the end of Empire. You get the same thing at the end of Jedi that you already got in the previous 2 Star Wars movies. There's nothing new in it. He's already confronted Vader, but this time he's more prepared. We have a space battle over the Death Star, which we got in the first Star Wars movie. And I feel that's all Star Wars is now, is repeating things we've already got.
I was going to say, and that seems to be the issue with Obi-Wan, is we're seeing a lot of the same.
Rescue Princess Leia.
Well, and some of the more interesting, exciting things too, which we'll get into when we do our open spoiler discussion, our after show. Some of the new exciting things, they're not with us now. So we'll see how this goes.
Now everyone's going to, people hate me now.
They
hate me.
I minimize my chat because I don't want to read the comments that are about to come up, because I'm going to speak as someone who hasn't finished or watched the whole original trilogy completely. Like, I don't think I've watched them through, at all, any one of those movies. And so, I'm watching this with fresh eyes, kind of, just knowing from what you guys have mentioned, the Star Wars fans like you, Rob, John, about these characters. Boba Fett, knowing how cool he looked to me when I saw him in action figure form, whatever, and from what you guys were saying, it seemed very badass. And then after Book of Boba Fett, that character is not appealing to me at all. I saw a Boba Fett figure at Target the other day, where normally I would think, this is badass, I'm gonna pick this up. I didn't even pick it up. I'm just and now I'm afraid what's happening with that is happening with Obi-Wan. As much as I love Ewan McGregor, he's great. Him playing this, it should only be him. But the story that they're giving, this character is becoming not appealing to me either. I had this just this thought of what Obi-Wan is, or in my head, and it's coming out completely different. And I've liked most of the Obi-Wan series. Even the last episode was great to me. For some reason, this episode, I don't know if I watched it in a bad mood or whatever, but it was, it might be the first episode I didn't care for, at least. It felt like what you got out of the episode could have been attached to the last episode on the back end. The outcome of this episode, what we find or what we get, it didn't have to be drawn out into this whole episode. We could have seen all that at the end of, because last week's episode was only 40 minutes? Extra 15 minutes? This could have been told right there. What the as in story wise. So, and I also get sad that there's one more episode left. So I'm hoping, even if there is a payoff at the end, I don't know what my thoughts on Obi-Wan are, if he's not going to appeal to me like what happened with Book of Boba Fett. It made me...
The thing is, the payoff at the end is this movie called Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so frustrating, is there's all these elements. There's Princess Leia and there's Darth Vader. And, we're all waiting for something we've seen before, which is, we're going to watch this great fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. Well, I
keep forgetting.
We got that in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And then we see Obi-Wan sort of capitulate to Vader in Star Wars, which works out. Do I have to watch yet another lightsaber duel that isn't even staged as well as it is in the movies?
Ooh.
And that's what the thing is. The story that's being told is not serving the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi well.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want a story, whether it's, does it have to be the Iliad or the Odyssey starring Obi-Wan rather than Odysseus or whatever? Perhaps not. But I would love a show that doesn't rely on all of this stuff. We're waiting to see this conflict. What we should be doing is waiting to see Obi-Wan moving through the survivor's guilt he has to feel. Think about it. The man was disgraced. Everything he believed in, his Jedi order from the time he was a youngling, It was all stripped away. The Jedis were idiots. They allowed the greatest evil in the galaxy to come up right in the midst of them.
Yeah, and helped foster it.
And then his Padawan becomes Vader. Like, what does a guy who's suffering from that kind of survivor's guilt, what does he do to come back from this? Well, he goes and he does things that we've seen in other movies.
Well, and I will say, too, and the chat brought this up, a few people in here did, of, Star Wars has tried some different things sometimes, Last Jedi, however you feel about that, that was a different direction that then got shoehorned kind of towards what we knew again, right? And that wasn't executed particularly well either, in my opinion. So that is where I'm kind of locked on this of, am I being too hard? Do I want more of the same? Do I really want new things? And I'm trying to kind of figure out my own needle on this of, am I giving this the kind of viewing that I should, that's fair for this show? And I don't know if I'm able to because of my fandom towards this.
But the thing is, I think people are. The problem is we're all like, I feel like I'm in denial about where Star Wars is at from a storytelling perspective, because the even with something like, if you're a kid that was born today and you discover Star Wars when you're 5 or 6 and you're watching, how are you going to feel when you get to the end of Return of the Jedi and you immediately put in Force Awakens? And your characters they've gone through these movies and the galaxy's been taken back, the Emperor is destroyed, the Empire falls, we're fireworks on Coruscant, and then of course you watch Force Awakens and all of that is swept away and everybody, our characters have failed and allowed the First Order to rise.
That is a great question, Rob.
How is that going to be for kids? I'd be like, what, Mom? What happened here? I mean, these were good characters. Why did they allow who the Resistance? What is this?
Oh man, that poor kid.
The only thing making me happy right now with Star Wars is this right here. Can you just show this real quick?
Ooh,
Look at
this.
Look at how cute he looks.
It's like a little Darth Maul. I got it with points.
Wow, multiple head
man.
sculpts. Look at that.
Look at that adorable.
See, I look at
murderer.
that and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta
That's
go get it.
awesome.
I want to open up my Hot Toys Darth Maul and a Sith speeder.
Ray did bring up one.
One.
No. I mean, something that we haven't touched on, and he said, I wasn't even inspired to buy a Boba Fett toy. I know that sounds silly, but Disney and Star Wars is about selling toys, and if they start seeing a slump in toys, like kids just don't want to buy those toys, they're not interesting characters across the board. Money talks and merchandising talks, and you're going to start getting some notes back.
They need to start packaging those Boba Fett toys without a gun or a blaster anymore. It should just be a talking feature because he's going to talk it out with you.
Boba Fett should be the John Wick of the Star Wars universe.
Like with Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, I hate to be vulgar in this, but I wish there was a little bit more balls with both the characters. I want to, I want to see more balls. Come on. I don't mean that.
But no, but I understand.
I wish there was a little more, when those guys should have shown a little bit more strength, a little bit, just a teeny little bit. I get what they're doing, but you know what?
Well, and hopefully that's the payoff we get in this final episode. Hopefully we get the payoff that the character deserves, that the fandom should have. But time will tell, right? So y'all, let us know how you feel about this latest episode. Again, let's try to stay away from the spoilers until we have our after show, right? Then we can spoil everything with everybody. Let's try to be respectful of those who haven't watched things yet. Let us know how you feel about the episode. Was this a letdown to you? Was this an improvement from where we've been going? Are you excited about the conclusion of Obi-Wan? And do you feel like we're giving Star Wars a fair shake here? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, now, taking a hard left turn, we are going to talk about a trailer that just dropped for a Jane Austen film. From Star Wars to Jane Austen.
Don't laugh. There's much Star Wars could learn from Jane Austen.
I think so. There's a reason why it's timeless storytelling, right? So Persuasion just dropped the trailer for this. This is going to be a Netflix film starring Dakota Johnson, and this is based on a classic Jane Austen story about a love triangle. So basically, Dakota Johnson's character was engaged to a young man. She broke off the engagement, which is pretty wild given the time, right? To break off an engagement. And then 7 years later, they come back into each other's lives when another man has entered the picture, played by Henry Golding, which I am very excited about. As always, he is so charming, so charismatic. He has this great line in the trailer where she's kind of talking about how great he is. And he looks at her and says, "Don't forget Rich." And he just says it in this way that we're like, oh, you are so smooth. What a guy. But I love this kind of stuff. I'm a big Jane Austen fan. I love all the Regency era kind of
Look at
things
that.
we're
Look at
getting.
there's the rivalry right there.
Exactly. Look at these two gents squaring off. And we've seen that a lot of fans are into this kind of storytelling as well. I mean, you look at Bridgerton, that is the second most watched English language show of all time on Netflix. So obviously fans are liking this kind of clenched fist, forbidden romance kind of drama. Are you excited about this, Rob? Because you're a romantic.
I am a romantic, and I like Jane Austen movies. I'm a fan, and why not? And look, setting up romantic rivalries is one of the great classic tropes in all of literature, and I love that. And Dakota Johnson, man, despite being in the 50 Shades of Grey films, which I have no problem with her being in those movies. I just wish those movies went a little further than they did. If you're gonna bring the filthy, bring the filthy.
Bring the filthy. I agree.
But she was great. Like she's in the new Amazon film Cha Cha Real Smooth. Oh no, the
Yes,
Apple. I think it's
Apple TV.
Apple Cha Cha Real Smooth picked that up at Sundance. She's in that. She's in this.
She's in Madam Web.
She's in Madam Web.
That's a movie.
Wait, is Madam Web a movie?
That's going to be a movie.
Are they really making that?
Apparently.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
The bit will never die.
It'll never die. But so I like her. I loved her when she was in the first time I ever saw her was in The Social Network.
Oh, yeah.
When she sleeps with Sean Parker. You're Sean Parker.
She's great in that.
She's great.
I also really love in this trailer, we kind of get Jane Austen meets a little Fleabag, right?
Yes.
There's some cheeky moments to the camera, which I think are really, really fun here. And it kind of breaks up the monotony of this kind of storytelling as well, which hopefully will be done well.
Well, it is a little, I mean, these mannered, this era is long gone. It is a bygone era that on one hand we can watch it, but it always seems like they're trying to make it more palatable to us by contemporizing the dramas and which I don't mind because I really like, I've been watching The Gilded Age.
Ooh.
And I like that too. I think that this whole Victorian era, you know what if we could be Victorian for like 10 years? Wouldn't that be kind of fun?
That'd be fun. My college roommate actually specialized in Victorian studies, specifically in diseases in literature, which is such a niche thing, right?
Wow.
So I have this really cool college roommate friend, Kari Nixon, Dr. Kari Nixon. She's about to move to Norway for her job, who studied Victorian diseases. She's I got to narrate her audiobook about plagues and everything.
That anything to do with plagues, pandemics, disease vectoring, I'm in.
Fantastic. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going
Come
to
on.
send it to you. But so she has all this really cool Victorian garb and jewelry and everything. And it's really fascinating to watch. And I think that's one of the reasons why we like shows like this too, though, because it is that time past that still is so relatable. There's still so much in there that you go, oh, yeah, I've been in that situation where it is uncomfortably around other people and you have to put on airs and have to try to be maybe someone who you're not. So,
Which is a lot of what went on then.
exactly.
You had to pretend you were somebody you weren't just to get by.
Totally.
Kind of like on the show.
Everyone's authentic on the show. What you talking
No,
about?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
I'm
Maybe
nothing
not
if
Ray.
not authentic. I'm going to
Man.
get that Simpsons mean man shouting at clouds like I don't get them already. There's going to be a deluge of them
We
filling
need the
my...
internet to go ahead and meme that of you.
Telling you.
just-
Oh, they do it every day. It's usually about Star Trek, though.
Oh, that's very true. Well, you know. But guys, are you excited about this film Persuasion? I mean, Dakota Johnson, I feel, is having a moment here. I'm pumped about it. Let us know how you are feeling about this going to Netflix. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts. All right. Moving right along, we have yet another film that is getting its release date, Gran Turismo. That film, the film of Gran Turismo, is going to come out in August of 2023. Sony and PlayStation coming together again to give us the racing video game movie we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one, frankly. I mean, from what I've read, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the case, but it sounds like it's going to be a pretty meta movie, kind of about playing the game as well as racing. Have you heard anything about this, Rob?
I just read about it today. Neil
Okay.
Blomkamp, from, of course, District 9.
Yes.
The thing about Gran Turismo, when I started playing Gran Turismo, it's a very hard game to play. Is it not, Ray? Would you say that Gran Turismo is, there's a lot to it. It's almost like Microsoft Flight Simulator in a way. It's not like, but I remember thinking this is a complex game to play well. Like, it's not just some racing game you can pick up and start playing.
Yeah.
It's pretty complex.
challenging.
It's a very challenging game, but very rewarding. and I really loved it. And it was one of the first time I played Gran Turismo was PlayStation 3. That was the first time I played it, and even then, it was one of the first games that I bought for PlayStation 3. It was a tough game. It wasn't something you could just dive right into. I find this sort of interesting because if it's meta, but if you're talking about a racing film, then you're kind of locked in. Like, what characters are going to be racing? Is it going to be? Yeah. I mean, there's going to be no Tom Cruise as Cole Trickle like in Days of Thunder in this movie. I don't know who they're going to create. Maybe it'll be like Rush. You get Chris Hemsworth.
Ooh.
Coming. I don't know how they're going to, like, how do you make this? I'm sure they probably know, but it's the characters in the story. But when you're car racing video games, I don't care who, I mean, unless it's like, I don't know, Twisted Metal Black or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have some cool characters, but what is this movie going to be about?
Well, according to Deadline, the logline's this. Based on a true story, the film is the ultimate wish fulfillment tale of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver.
Crazy.
And this is a real story, too.
Oh, it's based on a true story?
Happened, yeah.
Oh, so it's a biopic.
Oh.
Which is wild. There's layers here.
That's a whole different thing. That's cool. Yeah. I'll watch that.
Yeah. But I'm wondering about the execution of this film, because then is this a Ready Player One Fast and Furious?
You know, at first I thought it could either be what Rob was saying, or it could be just a film that they put out where they get all the licenses for all the newest cars coming out, and it would just show off these cars. You know what I mean? They could have gone that route. Like, sort of like what they did with the what was it? Was he a Mustang or a Bumblebee in that Transformers movie?
Right.
Remember, that car wasn't even out on the streets yet, or it was like around the same time. And they promoted the crap out of that car in that movie whenever they can.
So it's a new Camaro.
Yeah, or Camaro. Sorry, excuse me. So I was thinking, I hope they don't go that route with this Gran Turismo movie. Now it's interesting now with what you said, especially I haven't even heard of that story before.
Yeah.
A kid wild, actually getting so good at a racing.
Well, it was very like Mike. It was really complex. It was a complex game, and you could get the driving, you could get the steering wheel and the shifter, the pedal. I think so. Right. You know, it was one of those situations
like a simulator. Whereas, you know, if you were like me growing up playing N64, Rainbow Road, I never conquered that, so I'm a terrible driver still.
And that could speak to the authenticity of the Gran Turismo game. I know I've never been a racing game guy. Like, I just don't know about going around in circles.
Super Mario Kart?
You know, that's the only thing. But you get bridges that you jump over, like in Rainbow Roads and stuff like that. But this, you know, so like this story is more interesting to me. It's going to be cool to see it. The Gran Turismo, the game, the last one they released actually got review bombed, and like for good reason too.
Yeah. Is that number 7 or is that 8?
The one that just recently came out, they were charging up the butt for these cars and because these cars were supposed to be unlockable if you do tasks, but these tasks, someone put it out there and they would take days or hours. Like, no one would want to try to get them for free, and they charge so much money for these cars that a lot of people were like, ugh. So just hearing that a Turismo movie is coming out.
Well, that's the bane of, I think, video games. You spend $60 for a game, then now all the in-game charges. I even felt that way. I got Hot Wheels Unleashed for PlayStation 5, and I was really excited to get it. And then immediately, when you start playing, you have to start buying upgrades to get further in the game. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I've voiced so many of those NPCs who are like, do you need anything? Be sure to look around. So I'm part of the problem, Rob. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's okay. If you got paid to voice
I got
them.
paid to get your
I will never begrudge you getting paid. But
Thank you.
I mean, come in-game. Ugh.
It is not fun. I'm not a fan of it. Well, and right now, too, PlayStation is churning out a lot of stuff, right? The PlayStation Studio is doing a lot. We've got a Horizon Zero Dawn Netflix show in the works. We have God of War coming to Amazon, too. And there is going to be a Twisted Metal show on Peacock.
Starring Anthony Mackie.
Oh, nice.
Big props to them.
There's
Big props to them for getting all these IPs and get the ground running with their new studio.
Do you guys think then, I want to ask everyone this, do you think taking this kind of real story then, as opposed to focusing so much of the in-game world, do you think that is just a move to ground this to set it apart from the other properties that PlayStation's working with? What do you think is the kind of ideology happening behind this particular story pitch?
Well, I mean, I think if it's a real life story, I mean, I think the idea of transitioning from being a gamer to doing that thing in real life, that's inherently interesting. Like if some kid's like, I'm playing the Apollo program video game and then became an astronaut.
Oh, man.
Like there was an old TV movie when I was growing up called Stowaway to the Moon. And yeah, I know, right?
Good name.
But I could see that if this were that, if that's what they're going to do, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very aspirational to any parent who's ever said these are going to rot your brain. No, I could be a Formula One driver.
I mean, the difference between actually playing a video game and then getting into a car and pulling G's around a track.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, like, those scenes could be a lot of fun.
That's true. Well, and that's how my dad started out. We talked about this. My dad races cars for funsies, and he started out with a simulator with the pedal and everything, and then graduated to the real deal and now is whipping around tracks in Texas.
I hope they add something to the racing like effects in like movie wise. Show us a different thing that we haven't seen before. They could capitalize on that. But I didn't care about this movie until you read that description. Now I care about it.
Oh, nice.
Now I'm interested.
Now you're in?
Yeah.
Well, what would be interesting is if they shoot sequences like I've always thought that, you know, you look at Top Gun Maverick, how they shot the aerial sequences.
Yeah.
But using drone technologies that they have now, they can shoot car races the way they've never been able to shoot them before. And I think if they were to do some of that, they could if they made this movie as visually arresting as Top Gun Maverick and decided, okay, and Neil Blomkamp could do that. We're going to show you car races like you've never seen them before. And that could be interesting.
That could be
from a
very
visual
tracks,
standpoint.
too. Whatever tracks they're racing on, if they set that scene up, like you see the scope of the tracks, instead of just going in circles, then that would be good too, for me at least. Like all over the world, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, the question is for you. Now knowing this plot point, are you excited about this Gran Turismo show? Are you pumped about this? Is it something you're looking forward to? Or does it sound a little odd to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, y'all. Now we are going to get into our final topic before we start answering your super chat questions. So let's dive into this. This was so weird to me, Rob, because I saw the advertisement last night and I looked at Logan and was like, we are in the darkest timeline. We are in the darkest timeline. There is going to be a Squid Game. The Squid Game reality series is coming to Netflix with the biggest cash prize in television history. What? So it's a series of games that they're going to have 456 players in real life competing in, just like the show, right? But how much like the show? Because we can't murder people on Netflix. That's not allowed.
But isn't that kind of, I mean, are they going to play the exact same games? Like I could see that, you know, all those games I could watch, but are they really as much fun if you're not murdering the people that are playing the games?
I feel like we're missing something here. That certain je ne sais quoi that the first one had.
I mean, like, you know, part of because we've seen Squid Game, are they going to make up new games? Like they're going to have, like you don't know what the games are?
I would think you'd have to do a little column A, a little column B, right? Have some things that we recognize from the show so that diehard fans are like, oh yeah, there's that thing. Look at them cracking on cookies. And then you'd have to do some other things there too, right? To just keep things spicy. However, I mean, the whole idea of this show, though, really lampoons society of debt is such a horrible thing to have and is a problem that everyone faces, right? Honestly, no matter your socioeconomic background, so many people are living with debt. Some of them are just living higher on the horse than others and hiding it well. And the lengths that people will go to eradicate that debt, which is one of the things that made this show so timely and why it was something that appealed to Western audiences as well, right? We talked about this yesterday of having that difference between the Eastern and Western audience, and this really brought it together. So how do you then take something that really lampoons not only game shows and a capitalistic society and do this?
I don't know. You know, and when you watch, I mean, I think all of the best competition game shows, there's always an element of reality in the sense, like you watch, you know, Ultimate Ninja Warrior.
Oh,
those
love
people
it.
have to be good athletes, like genuinely have to be good athletes. You watch Survivor, you know, Jeff Probst, the granddaddy of all modern. You still have to be a good player. You have to be cunning. You have to understand how to make alliances. There's stuff that you can't fake. So in this game, when you have to lick the back of the honeycomb, you know, and without cracking your thing in half, if you don't have the threat of death hanging over your head, are people gonna like what? Where's the real competition?
Yeah.
Like when you're watching these contrived games, part of the reason that they're exciting is in the show is because of when you're watching it, the first people are eliminated, they're really killed. It's shocking. Well, with this, where's the shock value? Like, are these guards when they're standing around, if they're not going to really do anything to you, you know, are they scary? Like, look at that. Like, those guys are scary with their nameless, faceless, and you never see their faces. You don't know who's underneath those masks.
Exactly.
So to me, this sounds like something somebody pitched. And they're like, yeah, it sounds great. It's going to be like a real Squid Game. And someone didn't think it through. Although maybe they did. I'm just an idiot. But I look at this and I'm thinking, how do you make this? I understand that the cash prize is big, but how do you make the gameplay in this legit?
Yeah. How will it have the same feeling of those stakes? What's really interesting here is one of our viewers, Brian Eric Lugo, applied for the show. So he says in here, it's a pretty lengthy application and it's all questions about strategy and you needed a headshot and a 1-minute video. So interesting that they're talking about strategy and figuring all this out. But again, the stakes, what are they? Ray, how do you feel
Obviously, they're not going to kill anybody.
Well, no, this is not a snuff show on Netflix.
What I envisioned in my head would be like, do you remember that show Fear Factor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that where someone really has to think about whether this money is worth it. Running through a thing with a whole bunch of snakes in it. Fears that, you know, that are really like, could get to people's heads to see their mental strength. Because a lot of it is like tightrope walking. A lot of it is like getting rid of that fear of what's below you. And that's half the battle, maybe even 90% of the battle. And then the task at hand. That's the only way I could see they're doing this. But I'm having bad feelings about this because they see this property is so hot for them. They could just be using the name and it has nothing resembling Squid Game at all, which would be really bad, I think, especially if season 2, let's say people don't like season 2, that's going to affect this game show.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. If this becomes, they're putting a lot of their eggs in one basket right here, I think.
I totally agree, Ray. And it does diminish the Squid Game brand, right? Because we've talked about that on the show. How do you do a season 2 of this? Because you have to have this same level of excellence and you still have to be able to subvert people's expectations and shock them. But can you do that with still great storytelling and great character development? And now you have a game show?
And who's creating it? Is it like the Korea? Anyone from Korea? Like are there Korean like a show? What do you call people who write a game show or write for a game show or come up with a game show? Showrunners?
I think you'd still have a showrunner for a game show, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to be from the actual show? I mean, who's involved in this? I mean,
that's the whole thing. The game, like you were pointing out, this show, it uses the Squid Game to address so many other issues. So if they're going to have a game show that delves into the same issues in some way, shape, or form, but when they talk about this game show is going to actually have 456 competitors, you know, and all, like, you know, even when I watch something like, I love America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent, because when you're watching people, they have to be talented.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do to make the competitions in this game something that we are going to tune in to watch?
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
Kill people, for real. I would watch that. Yeah, you could never get insurance for a show like that. And people would complain.
Well, just this from a logistics standpoint, I want to point this out from the Hollywood Reporter too. Production will be especially tricky as producers won't know who's going to survive in advance and therefore must get sufficient coverage of all 456 contestants in the early stages of the game in order to craft an edit that follows the show's protagonists all the way through. Because that's a big thing in reality television, right? You have storylines thrown in there. If you watch the credits of reality TV, kids, there's always writers.
Yeah.
And a lot of things are making people the villain and kind of vilifying their actions and getting footage that puts them in a negative light and putting your hero in a higher position, right?
And they take like conversations that really happen, yes, but then they place them editorially
Yeah.
Exactly.
in a
They
place
shape
that
the
is
world.
like.
So they're gonna have
sequential.
ringers? Did they just say they're gonna have actual protagonists in this show?
Well, so I mean, that's how the narrative of all reality television
They'll
works,
craft
right?
it.
So
They'll
then you
craft
have
it from what's
to
happening.
craft a story around almost 500 people and hope for the best.
Well, what if all your contestants get killed in the first round? And they did say if they survive. So maybe this will be like they'll bring back bread and circuses and ancient Rome, and they'll really shoot, and it'll be for real.
Lions, tigers.
Yeah.
Bears, oh my.
Yeah, I mean,
telling you.
Oof.
you signed up for it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I know that there's not really going to be death involved.
There won't be, but
But-
goodness gracious.
I do want to point out, if any of you have seen any of the game shows or overseas, they get pretty wacky. And I hope they bring
That's
some of
very
that
true.
wackness to this too, if they're
Yeah,
not
I, do
going
too.
to
I was
murder
thinking
people.
the same thing.
Yeah. So
Well, maybe that's how they'll execute this without executing people. But guys, the question is up for you. What do you think of a Squid Games reality competition show? Is this a good idea? Is this a terrible idea? Are you going to tune into it? Let us know your thoughts down below. All right, guys, before we get into your super chat questions, we are going to take a quick break and we are going to hear from the folks over at Masterclass. Check them out.
Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass, and as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.
And thank you again to everyone over at Masterclass. Guys, you really should check them out because all of us use it and it's super, super fun. The acting ones on there too are wild.
They're good.
Oh my gosh, I'm a big fan of them. All right, before we get into these super chats, which are open, we will be closing them shortly though, so get your questions in there. Good luck with the multi-parters. We always have fun with those. Ray, can you tell us a few things our members have sent in?
yeah, actually, there are two ones that we forgot yesterday too that were sent in later on. One was from Stubble McShave. He said, "You missed my super chat.
Oh, no.
Sending again. Have you seen Neptune Frost? It has a limited release, but sounds interesting. It's an African future sci-fi musical that's been highly praised."
I have not,
sounds
and I would
rad as
see that
hell.
in a hot minute.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
So I guess maybe if one of you guys see it, we'll chime in on that one. But
Yeah.
another one is from Seconds from Disaster. Says, "What's up, Carpool Crew?"
Oh,
Yep. John thinks Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are coming back. I don't think Robert Downey Jr.'s will for a while, but do you think Evans could return in Secret Invasion? It makes sense for the story.
ooh, a lot to unpack there.
Maybe.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, was Chris Evans a Skrull the whole time, and he was replaced, and we're gonna find the real actual
America's
Chris Evans.
ass was a scroll.
America's ass could have been a
Whoa.
Skrull. So you never know. It
Yeah.
could maybe.
Are the people ready for that? Oof,
I don't know.
phase 4.
I mean, BTS is breaking up to pursue a solo career. So what are you gonna do?
Oh yeah. That's who's BTS?
not pursue a. It's not like
Behind the
BTS is
scenes?
one.
Who's
It's
that?
all the members of BTS. It's breaking up so they can each pursue solo careers.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, good for
gonna
all
have
of
to get
them,
off
but
early.
aw,
And apparently their agency's stock price dropped 26% or something.
dang.
Lost like $1.5 billion.
BTS. Oh, well, good
What are
for
you
you
gonna
all
do?
on
Never
your
heard
own
of them.
journeys. That's
Yeah, it'll be
awesome.
like the Kiss albums when Kiss put out their solo records.
Yeah.
It'll be like that.
Or like One Direction. Yeah.
It's true.
Well, let's
Smells
get
like
to your
butter, baby.
I don't know what
let's
that
get to
has
these
do with
super
anything.
chats. All right, what we got, Rob?
Well, we start with Elizabeth Gerardo sends in a super chat and says, "The one good thing about Obi-Wan is baby Leia. I just want to carry her in my pocket."
Oh man, I friggin' love Baby Leia. I
She's
think
great.
Carrie Fisher would love her too.
I think so too.
This little actress is kicking ass. She's
I-
fantastic.
I agree.
Did you know Lola too is a reference to Carrie? That was a pet she had, I believe, and that's why they named the robot
Oh,
that.
Lola. Oh, right. Her
I have to
dog.
double check
okay.
that, but with some other nod to Carrie Fisher, which I thought was very, very sweet.
That is very sweet.
Yeah.
Suthius says, regarding 80s and 90s IPs getting a resurgence nowadays, I personally would love to see a sequel to Short Circuit. Love those two movies, and I love Johnny
How
Five.
can you not love Johnny Five? Oh my gosh, Short Circuit. Those were fantastic films.
They were, and I mean, I think you'd, with where we're at now with AI and everything, you'd have to seriously update those films.
Yeah.
But it could be pretty cool.
I think so too. You give a little. You basically just stretch out a Wall-E. You know,
Yes.
There you go.
Stretch out a Wall-E.
it'll be precious.
Yeah, I think that it would be very interesting to maybe take a different tack with it, but
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
Try to do a good version of Chappie, basically.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Speaking of Neil Blomkamp. Yes.
What else do we have?
Al Renshaw says, or Renshaw. It used to be Shaw. Is it Renshaw? Now, Chris,
Hi.
how would you feel if One Punch Man is another Dragon Ball Evolution or Avatar Last Airbender?
Oh man.
Shamhammer version, meaning
Oof.
M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan. Well, I mean, are they going to pronounce everyone's names wrong? Is that the first thing to make it like the M. Night Shyamalan version? Because
boy.
that was such a weird choice. I would be very upset, but here's the thing, right? There's a video lurking on the internet too of me going through M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Last Airbender and talking about all the things I hate about it.
Wow.
And the thing is, if I don't want to watch that movie again, I never have to, right? I can just go back to the series and watch that. Same with Dragon Ball. I can go watch, Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is the version I like to watch, a little edited, right? And check that out. Whereas, Evolution was very painful to watch, not my favorite thing. Will I be upset if One Punch Man is a disappointment? Sure. I would love this to be great. I rarely want something to be bad.
Yeah, no.
So if it's great, awesome. And if it's not, I'll just keep, reading the manga and watching the TV show.
All right. Sensible. KC Mack sends in a super chat and says, speaking of musicals, Netflix is bringing the Matilda stage show to life this Christmas with Alicia Weir and Emma Thompson playing the villainous Miss Trunchbull.
Oh, Emma Thompson's going to kill it.
She will kill it. And I watched the trailer for that today.
Oh, really?
It looks, it's not exactly the thing I'm going to run out and, I can't wait to run home and see this
Oh,
on
shit,
Netflix.
Matilda dropped.
But it looks good,
Nice.
for what it is.
Yeah, it's a fun musical.
It looked good.
Awesome.
So I'm glad it got made.
Yeah, thanks
I'm
for letting
in.
us know about that.
And I'll tell you something. I honestly say, I like watching stage musicals because I like stage shows. I like musicals. And if they're filmed really well, like on Disney Plus, how they shot Hamilton.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Now, if you can do that and shoot a stage show like a film and make it cinematic,
Yeah.
I'm in. Count me in.
Same here. Well, it's a real luxury to get to go to a theater. So I think having it on streaming makes theater more accessible to people.
Yep. I agree. Alex Mott. Oh, is that another?
No, we
No,
got
it's
it.
Alex Mott. It says Miss Marvel producer says she is now pushing for Feige and Paul Rudd to make a few in-universe Scott Lang podcast episodes. What are some topics you think Scott will talk about?
Oh, man.
You know what I would like to? I would like to him to do an existential podcast about when you can change the size of your perspective, how you see the world in a different light.
Ooh, that's
about
a
that?
nice one.
Like that?
That's really, really great. I'd like to have him just talk about his security business. I would just like a really droll episode about him trying to promote why you should work with him and Louise. I think that'd be delightful. Of just a really long pitch for like, this is why you should hire us. And anyway, what did you want to talk about? Oh, you want to talk about that fight I had with Captain America? Well, that's not what we're here to do today. Instead, I want to talk to you about keeping your family safe.
I'm sold already.
I think it'd be fun.
I'm already in. I'm subscribing to a podcast that doesn't yet exist.
Same here.
Looking forward to it. Cincinnati's 5-star barber.
Cincinnati, 5-star.
Hey, family. Rob, I'm willing and I'm able. I'm ready to place my cards on the table.
What's that reference to?
Is a Prince lyric.
That's Prince.
It is.
Because you're willing.
Oh, yeah. I feel dumb.
I now can hear the guitar riff at the beginning of that song.
Aw.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that. That's a great song. And Money Don't Matter Tonight. Anyway, Sub McShave says, Vader was overpowered in episode 5. Yes, he was. Like holding a starship down. He was much more powerful.
Oh yeah. Let's just be careful.
Vader was overpowered in episode 5. He was much more powerful than Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. It works in video games, but it broke established power levels in the movies. I agree.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right about that. What can I say?
Everyone take a shot for that spoiler.
Yeah, take a shot. Oh man, I wish we had.
Aviation gin shot.
We need aviation gin in here. I would take multiple shots to punish myself. KC Mack sends in a super chat and says, in some more. That's right. Oh no, pardon me, I missed.
Actually, we're down a slice.
It's Slice of Brie sends in a super chat. Thanks for that, Slice of Brie. Do you mean Brie Larson or actually the nice cheese?
I asked them that. No, none of those.
None of
None of
them?
the above.
Her name is Brie.
Oh.
Well, Slice
That's a
of
cute
Brie.
username then.
I like that name. Yes. Stubble McShave goes on to say, it won't happen, but Taika Waititi would be perfect to showrun streaming series on Terry Pratchett's books, like the Discworld books.
Ooh, yeah.
The seasons should be themed: Death, City Watch. Look, why not?
I'd be
think
into that.
Taika Waititi would be the perfect person to do anything Terry Pratchett.
I think so too. And of course, Neil Gaiman is doing a great job handling the show running too over on things like Good Omens.
Yep.
Carrying the mantle for he and Terry.
I liked Good Omens. A lot of people didn't.
I loved it, and that's why it's getting a second season.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I think it was excellent. That's who Logan and I went as Curly and Aziraphale for Halloween. And our dogs were Beelzebub and Michael.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Correction. She is a fan of the cheese. She just said in the chat.
Oh, well, there you go.
Her name is Brie.
A slice of
Good.
Brie who
Okay.
is
We
Brie
don't
is
want
also a
to
fan of
besmirch
Brie.
you, Brie, and your likes and needs.
That's right. Casey Max says, in some more animated movies I'm excited about, Paramount Animation and Nickelodeon are planning 3 films based in the world of the popular series Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show.
We were talking about that before the
how
show.
we're probably going to make that a topic tomorrow.
Yes.
Because I'm a huge Avatar fan.
I know.
Love this stuff.
Can you do voices from?
I mean, they're all pretty much standard kids'
Yeah, I
voices
guess
for
that's
the
true.
most part. I mean, Great Elise does amazing work.
I mean, I hate to say perform for me right now.
but I love doing it.
I love when you do.
But we've got a lot of stuff to talk about that one because it is a vast world, and I've read some of the books that go with it too, like Rise of Kyoshi. There's amazing comic books that go with it too. So it already is a vast universe. So to have more stuff coming out is very exciting.
That is there you go. Ryan Meyer, is it Meyer? Why don't we have a funny John Campea thumbnail as his replacement? Like when you guys are absent. Ha ha ha. That's a good question.
Because I prefer my image, and I'm the
Yeah.
producer. That's why.
That's why.
You know what? I can't deny that.
Exactly.
When you're the producer, you can put John Campea's face there.
Exactly.
How about that?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. I think I like that. I think that's a good, that's why we have
Yeah.
Jonathan as
so
a producer.
we get Jonathan up in here instead.
That's good producing. That's producing. Jamie Sundays sends in a super chat and says, we wouldn't treat a Godfather series like this. I don't know why Disney accepts mediocre with this series. Well, some people would say that the offer is not as good as it should be.
I was going to say.
But you know what? I honestly think that it's interesting to say. I don't think they know. I don't think they know the difference. I mean, if you listen to some of the interviews that the writers have given on this show, it's a little disconcerting.
Mm-hmm.
And I often think, I've often said, look, when you're writing a genre show, when you're writing an episode of Star Trek, you're writing an episode of Doctor Who, you're writing an episode of Star Wars, take the Star Wars, Doctor Who, and Star Trek out of it. Take it out of it. Forget all that. Tell me a story. Your character is a man who has suffered a tremendous loss. Everything that he believed in, everything that he thought he was doing was completely swept away. He was wrong. He lost all of his friends. People died because of it. So in our lives, what would that story look like? Tell that story. Come up with that story and then put back the Star Wars into it. Because I think now they're writing these things like, what if let's put Vader in and let's put Princess Leia in. But really what they should be worrying about is tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi 10 years after his unbelievable failure. What does that look like? And make that a universal story. And I think that not a lot of people think in those kind of terms.
No.
But what do you
Disney, hire us.
Yeah, man.
We apparently have the best ideas. Like so many fans. They should just have us write it.
You know, I think that when I'm doing YouTube streams, I don't usually
Right.
articulate it, but since you did, you are correct. I'm just going to say that right now.
It is one of those things though, right? When it's always like, I know exactly how this should go. But I'm sure if I was in the writer's room, I'd be like, yeah, this is the best idea we've got, right? And then somebody else on YouTube, some schmuck like me, would come on and be like,
And then you got to deal with the politics,
Yeah.
and then they don't want you to write this.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not the showrunner.
yeah, I don't want that woke Chris Carr girl handling my Star Wars, okay?
I mean, look at these are the WJ
You gotta turn
bylaws.
into
You're
a
out of line.
Kristen Wiig right there.
That was pretty good.
Thanks guys. Let's keep going.
Al Renshaw says, I got my tickets to see Thor 4 twice,
Woo-woo!
Friday and Sunday, and I'm looking at maybe a third time depending on when I get out of dinner with friends. Well, Al,
Al, that's awesome.
that's pretty good.
That's great.
You know, I hope the movie's great because I really want to see it.
Same
it looks
here.
great.
I hope it's worth all 3 viewings. I have a feeling it will be.
I do too. I do too. You know, they're having a marathon. They're calling it the GOAT marathon. It's the greatest of Thor.
Greatest of all Thor?
Greatest of all Thor. That's what it is.
I love it.
They're showing all 4 movies,
Oh, that'll be
and they're
super
showing
fun.
Love and Thunder to culminate with it, so and you see it early.
Oh, that's great.
Yes,
I need to do that.
I know, right? Greatest of all Thor. That's what it is. Chris Miner says, I was watching the behind the scenes for Top Gun Maverick, such as the intense G-force training. My question may be dumb. There are no dumb questions. But does that kind of training fall under the budget of making the film? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And in this case, the filmmakers had to pay for like jet fuel. They had to pay for all this stuff. And so, yeah, that absolutely falls under the. Can you imagine, Chris? Hey, we've hired you to be in our new Top Gun Maverick film, but you have to pay for your own jet training. How much is that, Rob? Well, we're talking about $10,000 for each 10 minutes of flight time.
Blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I will say actors typically, especially if you're doing things like guest stars or co-stars, you do hire your own coach a lot of times because you don't get that much individual attention on set. But man, if it came down to stuff like that of you need to go to air school.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if that movie would have gotten made.
It's true. And I might point out that on this channel, on the John Campea Show, you can listen to my interview with Kevin LaRosa, the aerial coordinator for Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, rad.
On the Designing Hollywood podcast. He's a fascinating interview.
Oh, that's going to be cool to listen
check
to.
it out.
Nice. All right, what's next?
K Major says, now it's Genndy.
I say Genndy. Is that not
Is
right?
it Genndy? Is it Genndy? It's Jen. I'm gonna say because I don't know. Genndy, I'm gonna go with you since you're knowledgeable in this area. Genndy is back.
Is she?
Bring back Symbiotic Titans.
Ooh, I'm not aware of Symbiotic.
I don't know Symbiotic Titans, but
But that sounds dope.
I like the idea of it. So
like
it's Genndy. I'm going to call him Genndy from now on. Suthius says, Dear Mr. B, please don't buy Morbius on 4K Blu-ray. Suthius, I promise you, I will not. Ever.
Yeah. Hi. Scout's honor.
I promise you. Blue Rock says, does Zaslav see dollars for a musical Joker sequel? Well, I mean, Warner Brothers would.
I clearly.
I mean, he gets paid a lot of money to be the new head of Warner Discovery. But I mean, his performance or the performance that he would have of all of the things would probably benefit him in some kind of a bonus. But he's not going to see. He won't see personally, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Unless he's a producer, but I don't think he would be.
I mean, for the whole of Warner Brothers, I think
Yeah.
they're assuming this is going to make them money because the first Joker did exceptionally well, especially since it was made for so little.
Yep.
This is obviously going to have a much bigger budget. doing all these musical numbers and everything.
Yes, it would have to.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. Al Renshaw says, how would the John Campea Show crew fare in the Netflix Squid Game reality show? And who do you think would die first?
Oh, me. I'd be dead so fast.
Really?
I think so. I'm very competitive, but I also don't think that I have fine motor skills or athletic ability. So I think all of you would outlive me.
Wow.
The cookie one, I think I'd do pretty well on. I think that'd be okay because I'm used to baking. Ray would kick my ass.
I will say that, like I said in the chat earlier, if it was actually about squid, like eating calamari, I would destroy all of you. When I go to a cheesecake factory and I order a plate of calamari and it's done, I'm like, that's it? That's all we got? That's how much I love.
And that's Cheesecake Factory. That's a big plate of calamari.
That is.
I'm just saying because the heads and tails, not the mozzarella stick looking calamari. Who knows what they packed into that? That's not real calamari to me. When you actually see the tentacles.
The tentacles, yeah.
Yep, that's real calamari. I'm getting super hungry right now.
Oh,
Sorry.
man.
But
My
I would win
octopus
that
teacher messed me up.
for
I
sure.
can't eat them.
Yeah, I wouldn't survive very long.
Yeah.
I'm old. I can't run fast.
But you'd be able to form alliances, though. You're a
Yeah.
smooth talker.
Maybe. But yeah, I'd still have to do some physical activity. At least I'd know how to win a tug of war.
That's
You
true.
have the mental stuff. I think you'll get the
Yeah.
mental things.
I
They
think-
said that Squid Game's mental too.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategic
Maybe I
stuff.
should sign up.
I think
would
Jonathan
totally
would
lose
kick
it.
all of our asses.
Yeah, Jonathan probably would
Yeah.
kick all of our asses.
Yeah.
We should all
I'm
sign
just
up. Why
quietly
don't we audition?
observing, listening. I'm like, yes, yes.
He's already
Keep
game
speaking.
planning.
Keep telling me your game plans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would tell every single person my strategy and be like, oh, well, you know what I think would probably work. And then I'd be dead
And
so
I'm like,
fast.
Why don't we all apply?
No.
Wouldn't that be
Let's do a
fun?
John Campea Show Squid Game
Yeah. Do a mini game.
tomorrow.
Aaron has the costumes because of her Christmas card.
Yeah.
So we can make it happen.
Let's do it.
Casey Mack says, I think somebody had a good idea with the red light, green light portion of the Squid Game shows. Paintball.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
we
sure
did
they're going to
that
do
so
something.
well.
too.
But
Yeah.
then you have to. But then you have to decide. Like, if you just get hit, do you die? Like, if you're running and it's red light, green light, and you get hit. What if you get hit in a place where you can still run?
Oh.
Like, if you get hit in the arm, do you
They're not
die?
aiming there. Everyone who's shooting is not. Or
Okay,
It
I'm
has
just
to be a
saying.
nut
I
shot or
mean-
nothing.
You can have like a target type of thing. You know what I mean on your clothes, like
just-
within a
Yeah.
red zone or
Yeah,
a
it could
yellow
be.
zone or whatever. I don't know.
You get shot in the peen, you're out.
well, yeah,
That's how they do it.
yeah. Well, definitely. If
I'm
you're
going to
not,
produce
then
this
there's no
game show. It's
peen.
going to be ruthless.
Might
Wow,
not be out, but you quit.
I love how you just went right there.
Yep.
the peen to wean.
Hashtag the peen to wean.
Fredo Valcos. You love y'all.
The regular.
Oh, I
Fredo.
love you, Fredo. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I knew it was you, Fredo. Hayden Wilson says, so excited for the extended cut of Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters. You know, we have not talked about this.
This is true. The fun cut or whatever it's called.
Or more fun?
Yeah. I'm
More
excited.
funner than fun?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm so excited about
This is
it.
the news to me. What is it?
So there's a new version of Spider-Man No Way Home that's longer. That's going to be put in theaters where they probably are adding in deleted scenes, more of the Peter stuff.
Yeah. A lot of the ad libs and everything,
yeah,
which I'm hyped for.
I'm stoked to see it. I can't
The
wait to
elevator
get
scene and stuff like that, probably.
Yeah.
Probably
More
all
memeable
whatever's
moments,
missing.
You know,
Yeah, those
all that good
yeah.
stuff.
All right.
Because Andrew Garfield, I think, was just so funny in this and killed it.
I think they're doing it because they want it. They want it before Avatar gets re-released.
Yeah.
Because Avatar gets re-released in September, and so does this. I think it's going to be a horse race.
Ooh.
We're going to see
shall
who
triumph?
comes out. Although it's not Endgame, so it's
Yeah.
but whatever. I'll watch it. Josie Reviews says the scale in the bathroom is nicknamed Buzz Lightyear. When I step on it, it goes to infinity and beyond.
Whoa.
That wasn't bad.
I like that one.
I'll give
I like
Josie
that
a clap for
one.
that.
Good
Oh,
job, Josie.
that's
That
pretty
one?
good.
Okay.
Pretty good. But you should, maybe not eat as much.
What? No, eat whatever you want.
Well, she's the
love
one
it.
complaining it goes to infinity and beyond.
Is that a complaint or is it just like this scale's wonky?
It might just be a statement.
Yeah.
Could be. I guess not. I won't make. You know
Yeah.
what? Target it for
I'm
me
an
to.
eater, so I always encourage people to also eat.
Oh, me too. I'm a
I love
drinker.
a snack. Well, same.
So,
we know
oh,
this
that's
about
good.
each other.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, my scale would probably go to infinity and beyond as well.
I just don't use mine. It stays in my bathroom. And I'm like, well, what a neat paperweight. I can just live over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing. I like that. Salamander Man says, it sucks that Prey is getting trashed by fans who can't get over a female lead being in a Predator film. Wish people would reserve judgment. I know. I hate when people do that. It's like when people say, I don't understand I mean, can you imagine if they had a female lead in an Alien movie?
Oh, man.
Would you watch that?
If they put a female lead in Alien as Riley, oh my God, or as Ripley, oh my gosh. The Predator
Well, no, I mean,
she
first of
is
all,
great.
I mean, I actually love this idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the I have no problem where you have a hunter-gatherer society that have no technology, that are, I don't care who it is. I like that premise. It's a great, what a really interesting way to do something new and different and unusual. And the Predator is going to have grudging respect for these people. And when the colonizers come, that's how they got the gun that they give to Danny Glover at the end of Predator 2. I like the idea. Like, I grew up watching all kinds of movies that had female protagonists in them that I loved.
Yeah. Well,
Alien wasn't even the first.
I just don't understand how it threatens anything, right? How does it threaten your sensibilities as a moviegoer? How does it threaten your sensibilities of how a movie should go to have somebody else in the driver's seat, right? I think we've had a pretty good run of strong male protagonists. What's wrong with throwing in some female protagonists?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I wanted was I said, I want to, when we first talked about this trailer, I'm like, I want to see this in the original Comanche language.
Yeah.
Well, my wish was granted.
Exactly.
So, I mean, immediately you could go see it in that, which I think is, how cool is that?
Exactly.
I mean, I've always loved stories like this, and I think Prey is going to be really, really interesting. I hope.
Yeah.
Although the fact that it's on Hulu gives me pause, and it's not in the theater.
But I like that director. I like this story so far. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to, go above our expectations.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating. Fingers crossed.
That's a bummer when people do that review bombing nonsense.
Yeah. Yep. Brand-a-Man says, Joker plans a gift for Harley. It's a musical. And who wants to star in a musical directed by Joker? The cast is filled with people of power who he holds hostage. Christmas with the Joker on crack. That's not a bad idea, but the problem is you'd still want the musical numbers to be great.
Yes.
So that's what I want to see. I want to see really great Ken Russell directed. He's not alive anymore, but if he was, or somebody who's a really great director of musicals putting on these really elaborate musical numbers.
Exactly. I don't think it works if it's not the commitment of doing something excellent, right?
Yeah.
Because if we see something half-assed, you as the audience know it, right? We feel it when somebody feels embarrassed in their performances and stuff too. You feel it when somebody doesn't do something to the full extent, right? We want whole asses, not half-asses. I watch a really weird part of TikTok that is just bad musical theater. My friend Mia sends me stuff all the time of just terrible musical theater.
I didn't even know that was part of TikTok, but I'm going right there after the show.
I got to send you some stuff. It's hysterical. And I already have that in nice little 30-second chunks.
Right.
Which is all I think I could stomach. If this was purposefully bad, I'm not sure how I'd feel about it.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that TikTok had that, but now I'm intrigued.
TikTok is bananas. The algorithms are just wild that I'm on right now.
Yeah, and if you read what the Chinese government is actually doing with TikTok, it's terrifying.
Oh.
They're profiling us all.
I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet.
Yeah, there's a few videos really interesting
I've
to
been
watch.
walking around with this for years. Everyone knows my movements, where I am. So at this point, I'm just like, well.
Sometimes I have to figure out where I am, and I have to look at my own analytics to find out, oh, here I am. Here's how I feel today.
That's your version of the AMC ad? Let me look at my phone to see where I'm pinned. Am I inside a theater? Okay, good.
That's actually pretty funny. I like that.
Thank you. What's next, Rob?
What's next is Al Renshaw says, if Lightyear does well, over under 50%, we get a Woody movie. Well, we've been talking about this on the show. I mean, I don't know, because a Woody movie would you do Hopalong Cassidy? Would you do a...
When you had Woody's Roundup was the show it was based on, which was the puppet show.
So they already did that.
So that's a little trickier, I feel, unless somebody decides it's Andy's grown up and he's a filmmaker now and was like, I loved this character. Now here's my 310 to Yuma.
Yeah, but they could do that and kind of make it funny or wacky, or I could see them doing and get Tom Hanks to play the live action Woody.
Oh, I would love that.
I would love that too.
Oh man, Old Man Woody.
Yeah.
That's the story
there you
I
go.
want.
Old Man
Yeah.
Woody. The old gunslinger.
Exactly.
Jason Frost says, so Rob, you ordered the 4K Steelbook for Heat on Zavvi in August. Bruh. Come on. Of course.
Are you surprised? Did you have doubts?
I mean, it is, after all, Michael Mann. You got to have that. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to get that in 4K. But I will say this. Something does give me pause.
What?
Michael Mann has messed around with his movies on home video before. There's a Black Hat director's cut that hasn't come out yet. He added a scene back to Thief. He changed Last of the Mohicans. And it does say on this new 4K version, director's definitive edition or something. And I'm like, I mean, Miami Vice, there's 2 versions of Miami Vice, of his Miami Vice. Both of them are on HBO Max now. The
Oh.
theatrical version, which is not on home video, and the director's cut. A lot of people prefer the theatrical version. I kind of like the director's cut because one opens with a boat race.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful to look at, but the other one does not. It just gets right into it, and you hear Jay-Z and it's the song "Numb."
Oh, nice.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah. I like the term director's definitive edition.
Yes, director's definitive
Ooh.
edition. So yes,
That's
but I
nice.
did pre-order the Steelbook.
Oh, well done. Adding to the collection.
Adam Henson says, can we take a minute to appreciate Dark City? When it comes to sci-fi, it's an absolute gem, and it doesn't get talked about enough. What are your thoughts? Of course, that's the film that Alex Proyas made after he made The Crow.
Oh, okay.
And it stars Jennifer Connelly, and it has William Hurt in it, and it's a great Richard O'Brien from the Rocky Horror Picture Show is in it. It's a really intriguing science fiction movie, and I think both though it's really really good, beautifully made. But I think one of the best things about it is if you watch Alex Proyas's masterpiece, Gods of Egypt, and you should.
How dare you.
Gods of Egypt is about, if you look at it in this particular way, Gods of Egypt is a prequel to Dark City because it's set on the same planetoid. At least that's the way I choose to look at it. So you could really think of Dark City as part of the Gods of Egypt universe if you wanted to. A lot of you are probably throwing tomatoes at your screen right now, but I am a Gods of Egypt apologist.
I got to interrupt 1 second.
Yeah.
This is not a member chat. I just like this message. Mark Vel Blah said, for all mankind, got into it. Wow.
Oh,
Me,
yeah.
Rob.
Dude,
This show,
You're
bro.
doing it.
I have watched, you know what? For Elizabeth started watching it, so I ended up going ahead of her, and I ended up watching the entire first season again. I'd forgotten how great that episode is, the whole first season is, and the final episode. I mean, the final episode of season 2 is one of the greatest hours of TV ever. But then the first episode of season 3, that show is so good. I love those characters so much.
Yep.
I gotta catch up on this.
So good.
I love space so much.
I love
space almost as much as you specifically love the moon. So I don't know why I haven't watched this.
So good.
Oh, man.
So good.
I'm really glad that
So
you guys
good.
are stirring up, excitement for that show. Well done.
Oh,
You guys
so
should get
good.
checks from them.
It's one of the best shows on TV. Blue Magma says, what do you guys think of Punchline instead of Harley Quinn in Joker 2? I mean, you got to go for the star power. I think the more
Right.
established character. I mean, you could, but I mean, I think everyone kind of knows Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And
Well,
can you imagine going to Lady Gaga? Hey, would you like to play Harley Quinn or Punchline?
yeah. Which, I mean, is the runner-up Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. She's going to go, yeah. No.
Well, you've
I
always-
don't see that working for her.
Yeah, I mean, look, Margot Robbie's great as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But I think a Gaga version of Harley Quinn, especially a singing version, could be quite interesting.
I think so too. You know, as much as I'm kind of after hearing her talk about her acting methods and everything, I'm open to seeing her performance here. I'm excited to see what she brings to this character.
I am too.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see. Jamie Sundays says, the editing in Obi-Wan is so subpar. I would say I agree with you as an editor myself. But I have to say that one of the things about these new Star Wars shows that people have to be mindful of is when they are using the volume stage, which is what they're using on this show, the way they shoot coverage, it's limited because they have to be mindful of the backgrounds and the parallaxes. So you can't just shoot standard coverage. So sometimes I would imagine, now I don't know this definitively, when you get into the edit bay, you don't you don't have the standard coverage that you would normally get if you shot on sets. So they're limited by what they have shot and how they can put it together. Again, I'm assuming that, but that, I mean, when I notice it a lot on these volume stage shows. So you're not wrong. But I think it's not because the editing is bad. They're not bad editors. They just are locked into using certain bits of footage because of the way they were shot.
That makes sense.
But don't quote me.
That's a good perspective to have, though, from an actual editor.
Yeah.
Instead of me, who's just like, this looks silly.
Yeah, I don't understand these. How'd you cut from the medium to the wide and then back to the close-up? You know,
I don't know. I feel self-conscious when I try and do a voice in front of you. I just
Why?
realized that. I don't know.
No.
I shouldn't do voices.
Everyone should do voices.
I'm not a
Sarah Sherman,
professional.
who's a casting director for all kinds of good stuff like Animaniacs, has this great quote about how everyone's voice is exactly right for a certain animation project as is. There's a place for everyone in animation. And it always makes me really happy.
That makes me feel good.
See, there you go.
See, there you go. Derek Pierce says, did you see the new Ezra Miller accusations?
There's new ones.
You mean as of in the last
can't
24
keep up.
hours?
Oof, magoof.
The last thing I heard was that he was posting memes on his Instagram account about taunting the authorities, and then he deleted his Instagram account.
Let's see. I'm going to do a quick little look here. And see
But
if
after
there's
that long
anything.
article,
I mean,
that was yeah.
Are there new accusations, or does it just feel weird that we're not talking about one today? Because I feel like that's all we've done lately is talk
Yeah.
about Ezra Miller's antics. Yeah, I think this is a lot of the meme stuff, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
It's bananas.
Slice of Brie. I just became a member last week. Love you. Well, Slice of Brie, thank you for supporting the channel in that way. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
And she does love us.
We love her.
We love her.
We love you, Slice of Brie. Thanks
I
so much
love
for
Brie.
being
I've
here.
loved Brie my whole life.
Same.
It's good.
I'm lactose intolerant and I don't care.
Wow.
That's how deep that love is.
Cheese is good.
Cheese is so good.
Cheese is so good. By the way, have you ever gone to Trader Joe's and had their what is it, the unexpected cheddar?
Yes. It's so good.
Do you know what I do with that?
What?
It's so good that I dry it out, chop it up, and snort it.
Whoa.
So I want to get it right into my system
That
that,
is
much
intense,
faster.
man.
It's that good. If you haven't had have you had unexpected cheddar from Trader
Never
Joe's?
heard of it.
It's
This
delicious.
conversation was some unexpected cheddar.
It's an unexpected use of cheddar.
There you go.
Wow.
I don't even know why I even thought of that. Well, because of Brie.
Yeah.
Got me thinking about cheese. And by the way, you know what? It'd be great if Trader Joe's sponsored this show, because then I could get away with saying, hey,
I
have
would
you
love
ever
that.
gone to Trader Joe's and seen their unexpected cheddar? But
I
anyway.
love their cheeses.
Terry McGinnis. Again,
Yay,
Batman
Terry!
Beyond. We're all big fans of Batman Beyond. What's the sitch? Shout out to Chris for highlighting the 20th anniversary of Kim Possible. Thanks for appreciating my favorite animated show.
Oh, that's your favorite, Terry? That's
What do you think
awesome.
about that?
Oh man, that warms the cockles of my heart. I loved Kim Possible growing up. I had that theme song memorized, as you all know, because I started singing it on here, and Aaron and John were both very confused. One of my favorite things to do on the show now is just kind of like ask Aaron about a cartoon, because that's how I make all of my pop culture references. And then she'll just be like, "No, I don't know about that one," and I fill her in on it really quick.
You're helping her.
That's
you're
my love language.
Her young son is going to benefit from all this knowledge.
Oh man, I can't wait to show her kid so many cartoons.
Although, how do you feel about Terry McGinnis liking Kim Possible more than his own show?
More than his own show. I mean, hey, maybe it's hard to watch your own work.
Could be.
Seeing yourself on the screen can be really daunting.
Yeah. You know what? That's probably it. Sam Fisher says, fun fact, Fiddler on the Roof is really big in Japan. You can find images of Japanese actors dressed as turn-of-the-century Russian Jews. It's weird. Or it's amazingly awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Tradition.
tradition. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. That was one of the first plays I ever did.
Wow.
Was Fiddler on the Roof, the kids version, when they do those like Fiddler on the Roof Junior.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did the Pirates of Penzance.
Oh, nice.
I was Major General Stanley.
Oh,
I am the very
great
pattern
in
of a
that.
modern Major General of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England. I quote the facts historical from Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical.
Damn.
I didn't sing it.
Man,
Well
you are the
done.
very model of a modern Major General.
I know. Bet my
Yeah.
military knowledge, though I'm plucky and adventurous, has only been. Never mind. About binomial theorems, I'm teeming with a lot of news with many cheerful facts about the
Get
square
on
of the
board with
hypotenuse.
musicals, fans.
I know. Come on, man. Maybe that's why I love musicals. People are like, what? Sam Fisher's like, oh, wait, no, that's not Sam. Jay Sarge says Kenobi Part 5 should have been titled Millions of Voices Cried Out in Jubilation and Then Were Suddenly Silenced. Oh, Oh, see, that's some Star Wars humor I can get behind.
I like that one. Well done. Well done.
Okay.
All right.
Although there's, to be fair, a lot of people loved episode 5.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of great response. Although Jay Sarge is my favorite response.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sam Fisher says Avatar Studios just announced they have 3 features in production. The first to be directed by Lauren Montgomery, a longtime director of the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, Atla.
Yeah.
Do people call it Atla?
I don't think people usually say the
I just think they
acronym.
say
I think they say
Avatar.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Atla. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
Atla.
But I mean, like we talked about earlier, very excited about this. And
Yeah.
there's a lot to work with here.
And it's probably going to be great because the animated series is great.
Yeah, it is.
It's really good.
I'm a
That's
big
you know
fan.
it's funny because M. Night Shyamalan talked about how he and his family love the animated series. That's why he wanted to make the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Did you watch it though, bro?
yeah.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was the most sham hammered of all the things. Sham hammered.
that
Sham
was
hammered.
disappointing.
It was. I don't know. Alrencha says, I dislike musicals, but then I saw In the Heights and loved it.
Oh, In the Heights is great.
In the Heights is great, and you should watch Tick Tick Boom as well.
Oh, Tick Tick Boom is
Tick Tick Boom is
beautiful.
great. Check it out.
Especially if you are a creative in particular, because it's such a wonderful cautionary tale about how your life has to be more than your own art.
Yes.
It's so,
yes.
so good. And I think a lot of people miss the mark on the meaning of that too.
That was my favorite movie of last year, actually.
Me too.
It was Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah, I loved it.
I loved it so much.
Oh, man.
So good.
It's great.
Johnny Mac says, watched Rob Savage's Host last night. Absolutely loved it. So innovative. Got any brilliant, mind-blowing recent horror suggestions?
I don't, Rob.
Mind-blowing horror. Look, whenever I say that, I always say that I think about movies that blew my mind, horror movies that blew my mind. They're not exactly recent now. Karen Kusama's The Invitation. That blew me away. And by the way, don't read anything about these movies, like The Invitation. Don't read anything about that. The Ritual that was on, I think it was on Netflix. I like that. The UK film, The Ritual. Martyrs. And by the way, Martyrs is a movie you should never, ever watch.
Okay.
Ever.
Thank you.
And I don't mean the American version. It's not pleasant. But then the other French movie that you might enjoy,
Okay.
Inside.
Okay.
And if you want to watch a French double feature of movies, those are things, but some of them are older, like 10 years older, but recent horror films. I mean, and then I would say stuff like The Babadook, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Half of It Follows I really liked. There's a lot of good horror out there, though. There's a lot of good stuff. Those are just things that came to mind.
Nice.
I have The Host on Blu-ray. Sam Fisher says, Manny Montana from Graceland, Westworld, Good Girls, and Mayans MC was just cast in Ironheart. I read that just before we went between our segments.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Just cast in Ironheart. That's
Yeah.
I want to see Ironheart.
I'm excited about Ironheart.
I think
I
it'd be
love
good.
that character.
I did too.
I think
mean,
it's gonna be fun.
They're slowly building the Young Avengers. I'm liking that a lot.
Yeah.
Stub McShave says, over or under 5 more Ezra scandals before the Flash premiere.
Over. Because how do you premiere something that doesn't exist? There's going to be so many more things. Ezra Miller, just
I'm
Get it
convinced this might be
together.
marketing.
Get it
It's
together.
multiverse Ezra. This is like from the evil Ezra dimension.
oh man, I hope not, because otherwise, WB, what you doing? This is woefully misguided.
Did you see that Barbara Muschietti, Andy Muschietti, the director's wife who's producing the movie, said like today that the new Flash trailer is going to drop soon?
Soon, yeah. Because I thought about making that a story, but that
Yeah.
was just soon. So cryptic.
So cryptic.
When is soon? That's like how Texans, we say, I'm fixing to do that. It has no actual time relativity tied to it. It just means at some point, I probably will maybe do that.
Wow. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
So if
fixing
you
to
ever
do
hear
that.
me say I'm fixing to do that, Rob, don't trust me. It won't get done.
Well, I will. I you know what? I won't trust you then because I trust you to tell me the truth. And if you tell me not to trust you, I know that is the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
I just got one more missed super chat.
Okay.
It was Rizio. He says, I want Joker to be a Sweeney Todd-esque musical gothic, haunting music telling the story of two twisted souls falling in love.
Sounds good to me.
Ooh, yeah, into it.
That is a musical, if ever I heard one.
Yeah.
But no being a barber.
No, that's going to be
No hair cutting.
Oh, come on.
Alan Ling says, hey, Chris and Rob, to the both of you, do you think Netflix will release Knives Out 2 and or 3 on physical media? Alan, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because they have not been releasing their shows on physical media. I think, see, the thing about, and we've talked about this a lot on the show, Netflix's only business model now, pretty much since, I mean, I think people can still, I don't know if you can still get DVDs from Netflix.
Well, what's weird is, and I think this is being phased out because now you can opt in for just digitals, but when you get your Screen Actor Guild awards, right? Anything that's up for a nomination, right? Or up for the vote, you do get the hard copy still. And so I would get all these Netflix DVDs sent to me, which would just be like I don't need these. I have Netflix, and I don't have a DVD player plugged in.
Yeah.
But they are phasing that out. But I think that was one of the only ways that you could get them in recent years, at least. They used to do the box sets, but recently it's just been the for your consideration stuff.
Yeah. So I think that because they're subscription based and that's pretty much their entire business model, they want you to come over. They want you to come over to their platform and watch Knives Out 2 and 3. Although for those of you who know what the tuna train is, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Far be it from me, I'll tell you after the show's over, but tuna train.
Tuna train.
Or as those of you who know, stinky tuna. But that's all I'm going to say. Callie Royal 92 says, love the show, and I'd definitely be here for a Chris and Rob show.
Oh, yay.
Finally, a member.
Woohoo.
Any theories on how they might honor Chadwick in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever? Now, let me ask you, Chris, this is, like I said, it's my most eagerly awaited movie of the year.
Yeah.
But there was another movie. Oh, my actual is White Noise, is Don DeLeo's White Noise.
Yeah.
But I forgot about that. But still, Wakanda Forever, I'm so intrigued. Do you have any ideas of what you think they might do to handle Chad Boseman's absence?
It's hard to say because, one, we have to handle an off-screen death, first of all, which is always tricky to stick the landing on something like that, because then how do you honor the real life person and also make sure that that story makes sense for the character and the trajectory of the greater MCU, right? I'm assuming we're going to do a lot with this character because we saw so much actual Black Panther art go up too around Chadwick's death. There was this beautiful, beautiful mural painted at Disney, at Disneyland for a while. That was just this gorgeous image of him in the Black Panther suit with a kid looking up at him in awe. That was just beautiful to see. And I think we'll see a lot of that. I think we'll see art and imagery supporting their king throughout. So that, one, we pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman himself, but also so we can then feel the weight of this character's absence and how not only is this a mantle that someone steps into usually when someone dies, but also the weight that person then feels when you're trying to fill somebody else's shoes, because that's a hard mantle to uphold.
Yeah, I really don't know how they're going to do it. Yeah. You know, that's the thing I think I'm most intrigued by this year is to see how does the MCU handle that. But I like where you're going with that.
Thank you.
Fredo Coles is back. Best episode ever on the John Campea Show.
What?
Now, come on now.
Fredo.
It's because we said all three of us said
Fredo.
I always say it.
I think that's too sweet.
That's very nice of you to say.
That's very generous. We appreciate you.
Pierre Olivier Cote. See,
That's Spanish.
Whenever there's people laugh at my French pronunciations, I just massacre everything. In my opinion, Love, Death, and Robots is a window into the future of what animation could be, especially episodes like The Witness and Jabaro. What do you think?
You know, Pierre, I honestly didn't love The Witness, and I was a little confused that was the kind of standalone episode that got the Emmy nomination and everything for it, because it was Run Lola Run with Spider-Verse animation.
Right.
It wasn't anything particularly new or exciting to me. And that's just my opinion, right? Everything's subjective. But I do see where you're coming from about how this is really, really cool for where animation can go, right? You can do all kinds of things with this medium. You can tell all kinds of stories, and you can do really, really great sci-fi in particular through animation.
I agree, and I love it. I love, and they just had the world's most prestigious animated film festival in France. I can't. I don't. It's starts with an N. What's that?
The Knights Who Say Knee.
Is that-
Just the way you wrote out that.
My friend Michael Davis premiered his movie Nixed there. That he's he had the man who directed Shoot 'Em Up hand animated this movie over the last 5 years.
Is it Annecy?
Yes, honestly,
Okay.
that's what it is. Annecy.
All right. Sorry if I butchered that, you guys. Again,
Yeah.
I took.
But
two
no,
years
I
Spanish.
love Death and Robots, and I there's so many different. I don't know all. I know Witness because I watched it, but I'd watched it before. But I think it's great. Like you said, it's great for sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Up and Adam says reshoots with Keaton, Batman, Flashpoint.
That's what we want.
That's I think that's what they're gonna. I don't know what they're gonna do.
It
What are they
feels
gonna do?
It feels like this is the trajectory ultimately of what do you do with this footage? I think you maybe have to rework a whole bunch of it to make it palatable.
I know. I don't know what you do.
It's tricky.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I'm glad that we're not in the room on this one. I say people should hire us. I'm glad they haven't.
Yeah, no. No.
I wouldn't want to make these decisions.
Rocket Size says Liam Neeson, Ezra Miller star in Taken. You can't hide from him. He will find you.
Set in Hawaii.
Wow. I'd go to that though. I'd watch it. I'd see it.
I wouldn't. I go, Liam Neeson, you're better than this.
Hey, Neeson's got to get paid.
That's fair. That's fair.
Come on. What I really want is Jordan Peele to direct a movie with Liam Neeson.
Oh my gosh.
Because that would be the
yes.
greatest thing
I
ever.
would be so into that.
Although I don't think, can you imagine Jordan Peele on set? Do you think he could really hang out and not say Neeson's and break into one of those routines?
He'd have to do it once, and I think Liam Neeson would start it.
He would start it. But I would like to see, I mean, they've done that when they actually meet. They did one when they meet him. And I can't even imagine on set, though, what it would be like. I'd want to see it.
All the fun. I'd want
All
to be
the
a fly
fun.
on the wall.
Cali Royal 92 says, anything Star Trek, I want a 3-hour show.
No. We're already over 2 hours.
We've been vetoed by
We're
our
over
producer.
2 hours today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're like 2:01.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You and I are just verbose.
I know. I'm not going to lie. The time shift also made me lose track of how long this is supposed
Oh,
to
yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Well, I'll do a 3-hour Star Trek show. We'll
Yeah.
start right now if you want.
be. Super fun.
John would not like that.
No, he wouldn't be into
I'll
it.
just shut it. I'll just literally shut everything down.
I'm Captain. More power.
Well, we appreciate you, Callie.
Jamie Sunday said, like I've said, Disney has turned the Star Wars IP into the MCU, just fast food of cinema, cheap quality-wise, and just sort of fulfills you for the moment. Now, wait a minute. The MCU is not cheap, and nor is it fast food.
I don't think so.
I think Infinity War and Endgame put together are two of the finest, most entertaining fantasy epics ever put to film.
Mm-hmm.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah, and I just don't like to do blanket statements about, film franchises as a whole typically.
Yeah.
Just because, every now and then they have different flavors. There's different trajectories for each of these films too, even though they come together to form a greater whole. Like a bunch of mini lions forming Voltron.
Wow, I love that you turned that into a Voltron reference.
Yeah.
But 23 movies in the Infinity Saga, pretty good for the
Yeah.
most part. Good to great. I mean, if you think about how many other franchises, it took James Bond almost 60 years to get 25 movies.
Exactly.
And the
also-
MCU's done it since 2008.
And when it comes to Star Wars too, Mando's great. And also I would argue Visions. Visions is delightful.
I like
it a lot.
Visions too. Talk about what animation can do.
Exactly, yeah. What's next?
Mr.47 says, see you at 3 p.m. for the Terminal Movie Club. John isn't here. That's not a bad idea. What if we did a Terminal Movie
Do
Club?
it, Ray.
When the cat's away.
You know what? We could fit that in. What about you, Jonathan? Can we fit that in today?
That would be so funny to do a Terminal Movie Club.
Yeah.
John's probably watching the
That's
show right
why-
now with gritted
Okay.
teeth.
Going, no.
That's why I had that idea this morning. I emailed all of them. I said, you know what? Let's make the main topic why we should get a Batman Beyond movie. And I was like, this is the only time we could probably do this.
I was
in
into
a
it.
Terminal Movie Club?
Yeah. I think that's even better, Ray.
In between the super chats, like right now?
Make it so.
Well, we have to finish this show
just
first,
kidding.
which may not
We're
happen
doing
for
it.
another
We're
hour.
doing it.
So
I love it.
Matt Fitch says, great job hosting, everyone. Is there Is there a band you regret never seeing live? I will never get over not seeing Rush and legendary Neil Peart. That's a good question.
Ooh, I don't think I have any regrets on bands. I mean, on people, I get to go see Elton John this November, so I'm
Ooh,
really
nice.
excited about that. But what about you, Rob?
Oh, me, there's a band I've wanted to see and I've missed them. Juno Reactor. They're a
Ooh.
Goa trance band that did some of the music with Don Davis for The Matrix.
Dope.
I'm a huge fan. Didn't get to see them. But what I really hate is, even though I've seen him about 30 times live, I really hate that I'm never going to see Prince live again.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonathan? You're a music guy. Is there a band you
I am, and I was thinking about that. I'm going to get back to you.
Okay.
I got to get
All right.
back to you on that one. I'll pop
Ray?
back in real quick.
What?
Is there a band you regret never seeing?
That's not playing anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And,
for
and not
whatever
a
reason.
band like, oh, I wish I could have seen Elvis. Well, you weren't able to see him, but like that you could have seen
In your
and
lifetime.
didn't.
I'm not a concert goer, not that much, but I've been surprised by bands before they got popular. I mean, there's that band, The Used. I don't know, they got really popular. But I saw them way before they hit the Transformer soundtrack with their song. It was really crazy. That's all I have. I've seen everybody I wanted to see. I mean, maybe Michael Jackson I would want to see in concert.
Yeah.
Good one.
For a while, for me, it was My Chem, but they've started making music all together again. So that's still possible. That's on the table.
I'd like to see Shriekback live. I've never seen Shriekback live. They're still recording albums.
Great question, though. That's fun.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Cash says Warner Brothers is reportedly moving to recast Amber Heard. She will be cut from the film following a recent test screening, and Warner Brothers will be conducting reshoots for the sequel. What are your thoughts?
So I saw some of this, but I didn't see it on reputable sites earlier today. So I don't think she's being cut from Aquaman 2. I don't think that's happening because that's in the can and ready
You do
to go.
have
isn't it?
contracts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Let's hold our thoughts until we get some confirmed news.
I
'cause
think
there's
so, too.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good.
but we've heard it. We've seen the news. It just hasn't been from anyone.
Yeah.
Brian Williams says in Endgame, they send time through Scott. They can do the same with Old Man Cap. Just make him young again. Take care of all. But the thing is, he's not young again.
Yeah.
Like when they send time through Scott, they've changed Scott from what he already is, and then they change him back to what he already is. But Cap is old. He lived that life. He lived that second life with Peggy.
And was happy about it.
Very happy about it.
Yeah.
But then again, it is the comic book movies, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Would that be a cheat? Joe Adonis. Joe Adonis says, I have not seen the Godfather trilogy. Should I watch The Offer?
I don't know if you'll appreciate it as much because
Yeah.
Logan and I talked about this. Logan's never seen The Godfather, and when I talked about I want to binge The Offer, he was like, "I really think I should watch the film first."
Yeah, because you won't know, like when the kid who plays Al Pacino shows up, you won't know how good that is.
Yeah.
Like you really, first of all, do yourself a favor. The Godfather 1 and 2 are two of the greatest movies ever made from a story standpoint. They're epic, but you should do that before you watch The Offer.
I think so.
I think.
And then you'll get all the references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Casey Mack says, I have a chance to see Black Phone tonight early, but being an Avs fan, I think I'll wait. So I'm not worried about what a hockey score is during a movie. I really want to watch. Look, Casey, I know what that's like. If there's a game on or there's something that's going to happen in life and you want to know what it is while you're seeing a movie, it'll distract you. I don't go to the movie. Black Phone's really good. And give yourself over to the movie because it is a fun ride that
Yeah,
you'll
you
never
guys
take.
No, I'm never going to take it.
Yeah.
Good.
Y'all were really
good.
raving about it. And Aaron was terrified afterwards. So if you're into spooky shit, it seems like
good.
it's going to be up your alley. So wait for the moment to be right.
Watch the game instead.
Yeah. What's next?
Casinema Reviews says, Theory, the Boys show version of the Stan Lee parody. The legend will instead be a Kevin Feige parody who runs Vought's cinematic universe. I could definitely see that
I can
happening.
see that. That'd be fun.
And apparently Paul Reiser is going to be on The Boys this week.
I love Paul Reiser.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
man.
coming back as a character. I can't wait. And that's supposed to be a musical too.
We have this really dumb inside joke at home anytime Paul Reiser shows up and stuff where we want him to just have a line where he goes, I am just so mad about you.
My favorite.
Never happens.
It never happens. I've got a Paul Reiser throwaway line too.
Oh, yeah?
In Beverly Hills Cop 2, he's trying to hear what the lieutenant's gonna chew out Axel Foley at the beginning of the movie, and he's standing at the cop lockers, and he's like, "This is not my locker." Like I don't know why. I love that. It's great.
His delivery is always so killer.
So
I love
good.
him.
So good. And I think this is not my locker whenever I'm standing someplace I'm not supposed to be. Up and Adams says, writers taking it's like poetry and rhymes too far. That's, of course, what Lucas said about the whole Star Wars films. Yeah, they have. The thing is, they're not writing the same kind of poetry George Lucas was trying to write. So it's true.
Yeah.
Rafael Castillo says, the Illuminantes.
Oh, the Illuminantes. This is for Ms. Marvel. This is really, really cute. I love it. I can't wait for you to watch
Illuminantes.
this. Oh, the
All right.
Illuminatis are great.
I love it. Johnny Max says, Rob, you say writers need to take the IP out, then write the story, but shouldn't the audience do the same? Well, I mean, no, because if the audience is tuning in to watch a Star Wars show, they want to watch a Star Wars show. They're expecting a Star Wars show. But great writing would mean that you're injecting something into Star Wars that isn't there already. I mean, make it allegorical.
Yeah.
I mean, George Lucas was looking at other things when he wrote Star Wars. And I think that the audience, look, the problem is the audience wants to see a Star Wars show. And the thing about a Star Wars show is you have something that was inspired by something else, like the movies of Kurosawa. You know, look at the Hidden Fortress. Look at Seven Samurai, which was huge influences on George Lucas. And that's where he got a lot of that stuff from. I mean, when he made Star Wars, there was no Star Wars. So we got all that new stuff from them. Nowadays, they seem to just be giving us Star Wars stuff and forgetting the underlying great stories that they're supposed to be telling us. But that just could be. People already, I'm getting flamed right now.
That's okay.
They're
You're just sharing your opinion. You're speaking your truth, Rob.
The Robo producer says, over under, we got Qui-Gon as a Force ghost, voice in Obi-Wan in the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. All your thoughts? I'm going with 70% yes. Hashtag living force.
I think it's going to happen. I went into this thinking it wouldn't. Like, Liam Neeson's got enough to do, and we heard his voice in the final Rise of Skywalker there. But I think given the trajectory of the show, I think it makes sense. I'd go with
I do
70.
too. I would go over 70.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get that for sure. Tim Platt says, do you think re-releases in theaters is going to become a more regular thing now? Well, Tim, it used to be normal. Theaters back before home video, they would re-release movies all the time.
Yeah.
Especially big movies. Disney practically survived on re-releasing their animated classics. I only think it will work for very specific movies. And they have to have a reason for people to go see. Like Star Trek The Motion Picture, they did it in 4K, so people went and saw it. But I really do think it's not going to be the norm. It'll still be a niche special thing.
I think so too.
The Happening.
Yeah, The Happening. Because you demanded it.
People running to theaters for
M. Night
it.
Shyamalan's The Happening. After his father, Stu.
After the Terminal.
Just do a double feature, Lady in the Water and
Oh, boy.
I'm a Lady in the Water apologist.
oh, what's to apologize for?
I think it's charming. I understand
is.
what's not great about it, but I think it's not as bad as people think.
Wow.
It's as bad
Did I
as
just ruin our
think.
friendship, Jonathan? Are you like, no?
Oh no, it doesn't affect. Like, you can have
Okay.
whatever opinion. It doesn't change my view on you as a person.
That's good.
I hate that movie.
That's fair. And learn from that, chat. See, we can have differences in opinions and still like each
Hold
other.
up there, little sister. I'm totally judging you for liking Lady in the
How
Water.
dare you,
wrong
Rob?
with it?
I thought we had something special.
We do, but that doesn't mean your taste always is something that I'm ever going to look at and go, okay.
That's fair. Sometimes my taste is all in my mouth, you know?
Well, so what is
Next.
Anubis Genocide. What a great name. Hi, John Campea crew. Disappointed with Jurassic World Dominion. Wish my idea of the Jurassic World franchise being a prequel to the old Cadillacs and Dinosaurs cartoon was realized. I would be all about that.
That'd be amazing.
I would love that. What a great idea.
Yeah. And
Love
yet-
it.
And yet we got something else.
We got something else about apparently giant locusts or whatever. I don't know.
Terrifying.
What's next?
Late Night Alum says, what up, Campea crew? I am late to the show and reactions. I just saw that Aaron watched The Scene from The Boys. She never saw it comings.
Yes. That should be the name of the reaction show.
Wow.
Never saw it coming. That's wonderful.
I love that. That's very funny. Wow.
Apparently, that reaction video has now opened a can of worms to potential other reaction
Yeah.
videos, which we'll see how that pans out.
Wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
all for that. That video I've watched like 10 times. Tevin Camus? See? Rob, did you watch Beyond Infinity on Disney Plus? It had a lot of great behind the scenes footage, artwork, and stories about creating Toy Story and Buzz. What'd you think? I haven't watched it, but I've worked on some of the Pixar behind the scenes stuff in the early aughts. I'm a huge fan of all that stuff. Pixar really documents their stuff well, so I'm sure it's amazing. I haven't seen this particular show. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm excited to, though.
Yeah, I would love to watch it. I didn't
know-
know it was on there.
I'm noticing they're doing a lot of pre-movie stuff now, which would be really cool if like it's someone's super hyped for a movie and it's not out yet. Like I do like that they're doing that stuff. It can only help the movie. I mean, I think, right?
I think
It
so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
David Sock and Lotion says, I don't have enough lotion to enjoy Obi-Wan.
How are you enjoying it? Explain.
Wow.
He brought his own lightsaber.
Yeah.
You brought that. Oh no! I'm not even gonna say.
I'm like, you know what? You know what? Even I'm not going to step where you tread. No.
No, Ray, I think you should keep going. It's great.
I'm surprised the red phone hasn't rung yet with John going,
know.
what are you doing? Sam Fisher says, did you see that screen test clip of Austin Butler singing That's All Right that Baz Luhrmann shared? The movie's going to be fantastic. I did see that clip.
Yeah.
He is amazing as Elvis. A lot of people say, well, he doesn't look exactly like him, but I think he captures that thing, that Elvis thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can't wait to see Elvis.
I'm hyped about that movie.
yeah.
For me, it's Bullet Train and that are my next like really anticipated thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Markville Blah sends in a super chat. Well, thank you, Markville Blah. Sam Fisher says, have you seen the behind the scenes of Anthony Starr on The Boys? He wears high heels when he needs to be taller than someone and is pantless when shot from the waist up in a scene. Well, I mean, Homelander, I can see that.
Yeah.
Because he's a pretty short dude.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that. The pantsless thing kills me. Well, and also that has to be a really annoying suit to get into too.
Oh, man.
So if you can just be hanging out in like some Bermuda shorts instead,
Yeah.
do it, Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down. I haven't seen that clip, but I want.
No, I'm gonna find it.
I'll
now.
watch it now. Sam Fisher goes on to say, I think I misunderstood Pride Month. Does anyone want to buy 16 lions?
Ba-boom.
Wow. Only if they combine into Voltrons.
Exactly. Yeah.
KC Mack, all I can think about hearing the Ezra Miller news is thinking about the Cameron San Diego theme song.
The Carmen San Diego. one,
he's a Cameron. I was
In
like,
the world.
yeah, where in the world is Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller.
Carmen San Diego. Even I
Yeah.
know it's not Cameron
Yeah,
San
Carmen
Diego.
San Diego.
But I like Cameron San Diego.
We need a cappella singing about Ezra Miller now.
Wow. Can
Yeah.
you do that?
I can't be all of a cappella by myself doing the doo-wops, Rob.
I don't know
I'm
that
not
song.
that gifted. Yeah, it's really good.
See, I think you can be that gifted.
And-
David Sock and Lotion comes back and says, also, I haven't said it, but Chris is doing great.
Oh, David Sock and Lotion. Thanks. What? Ray.
That's
No, I meant don't shake his hand though.
yeah, I'm like, that's a little suspect as he watches you. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Tim Platt says, look up Chester Cheetah Family Guy cutaway. That what you should sound like, Rob. Chester Cheetah Family Guy cutaway. That's what I should
I'll
sound
have
like.
to look that up. The
I'll have to look it up.
Cheetah doing something.
I can't look it up right now because
Yeah.
already the show's running. How long?
Yeah.
Sam Fisher says, I freaking love The Wall better than Tommy, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Well, it's different. I would say it's different, but I love The Wall too.
What is he referring to?
The Wall, the Alan
Pink
Parker
Floyd.
version
Oh,
of
right.
Pink
Yeah.
Floyd, The Wall. It's fantastic. If you like Pink Floyd and you haven't seen The Wall, by the way, please, Roger Waters, I said this once before, where is the 4K of The Wall?
Yeah.
Please, Roger, please.
We want it.
You're my only hope.
I don't care about physical media nearly as much as Rob, and I want that.
I want it. I have a bootleg of it. I really want a legitimately released
Help
4K
him love
of
you
The Wall.
legitimately.
Oh, just do it made to order or whatever.
I know. Where's that guy with that Star Wars 4K transfer?
Oh yeah.
Slide
that
into my
still,
DMs, buddy. Sam Fisher says, got my 4 Thor ticket Saturday, 7/9 at Dolby Prime.
Amazing, Sam. We're so excited for you.
Love it.
Thor
Yeah.
4, baby.
Fantastic. Harv's K says, Rob, you would love Symbiotic Titan. It's Genndy. Okay, it's Genndy's tribute to 70s giant robot anime. You had me at 70s giant robot anime. I'm in. I didn't know that. I need to watch that. Symbiotic Titan. I'm in. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Hayden Wilson says Flash trailer at Comic-Con this year.
What?
When did they release the
No.
Oh boy.
Let's end the show now. Just thinking about
I don't know. Tim Platt says Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny and the South Park movie are when I realized that I like musicals. Both of those are
yeah.
good choices.
Those-
I always forget
Oh.
The Pick of Destiny is definitely worth watching if
So
you haven't seen it.
good.
And the South Park movie, I mean, shut
Yeah.
your fucking face, Uncle.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't
and then the Blame Canada song and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Let's blame Canada. That's why we're doing this show today.
Yeah.
We're blaming Canada.
Exactly.
In John, in
Yeah.
the guise of John Campea, blaming John. Blue Rock says, name a movie no one else likes that you have a strong emotional connection with. For me, it's Star Trek V. It helped me after I lost my dad. Well, Blue Rock, I get behind you 100% on that. Directed by the mighty Shatner himself.
Oh, wow.
Do you have one of those things?
I don't know if there's a movie that I love and have an emotional connection to that other people hate. People get confused when I say I really love the Philadelphia Story, and it's one of my favorites because everyone thinks I'm talking about Philadelphia,
Right.
which are very different films.
Although Philadelphia is good.
It was a great film. I think also I connect to the Muppet movies way more than like normal people do, and I really, really love that in stuff like Muppet Christmas Carol and in Treasure Island. You have really beautiful, committed performances that are masterful by Michael Caine and by Tim Curry. And you almost forget that they're acting among Muppets because they're so committed to telling the story in a beautiful way.
What about you, Ray?
I've said it before. I love Employee of the Month because that's what I think happens at Costco's and Sam's Club everywhere.
That's fair.
Jonathan,
That movie,
what do
I
you
don't know
think?
why I like it.
You know what? I mean, that's kind of a deep cut. Like, you know, you have to have an emotional connection with it, and no one else likes it, and go
Oh,
like
I
give an
didn't-
answer.
I didn't see the emotional part. Sorry.
So that's tough. I will say along the lines, and it's actually not about me, but a buddy of mine years ago lost his father right around the time when Big Fish came out. And that was just like a massive connection for him for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I think that was also well received.
Oh,
So it
absolutely.
still doesn't really fall. It's not my story. It's not like disliked by a lot of people, but it's kind of a connection.
Nice.
I don't really have one. I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I have to think about it. I have
Yeah, that's
so
a
many.
deep cut.
Yeah, I think of some. I don't want to give you a wrong answer. But those are all good from you guys. So thanks for that.
And that's it.
That's all we
That's
got.
it?
And then do we have any other things from you, Ray, or are we good to go?
No, I didn't get anything. I guess people don't want to talk to me anymore.
Aww.
So, I mean, listen, if there are any like blunders from Stream Elements and somehow it cut it off, our apologies. We will try to find them and we will try to find
Yes. We'll do it for you.
and make good on that. But this is what we got. So I'm sorry, guys, if we missed you.
We apologize for the Stream Elements wonkiness, but hopefully we got you covered. And we hope that you enjoyed this show because we can't do it without you guys having these great conversations about film, television, musicals, all that good stuff. So I want to thank everybody in the room for being here today. Robert Meyer Burnett, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan, all of you who stuck it out in the chat with us too. I'm Chris Carr. Thanks for being here, guys. And until next time, bye-bye, y'all.